You have been wrong. We're going to prove it here. Tonight we're examining the curious case of Dak Prescott. Now, everybody's been talking about the fact that his wedding got called off, and initially people were saying it was because his fiance wouldn't sign a prenup. At least that's what people were assuming was the issue. I didn't say anything about any of this because I found that version of the events to be too sketchy. Too many people I felt were just assuming things, and it turns out, it appears that was the case. Because now you were getting word that Dak Prescott, allegedly, was talking to more than one woman the entire time that he has been with Sarah James Ramos. What? So, a professional athlete who is entertaining the company of multiple women, shocker, I'm sure. Of course, before he was with Miss Ramos, as you can see on your screen here, he's with Natalie Buffett. And obviously, Dak has a type. All right, he's gone from blondes to brunettes. He certainly does have a type. All right, but apparently that didn't change anything. That didn't alter a thing there. It didn't change anything at all, and there are lessons to be learned from this, and we're going to be examining some things here tonight because pretty much everybody's got it wrong. I didn't say anything about these things here before, but everybody's pretty much got it wrong on all these counts. There's a reason why you just can't rely on it, and you just can't go with that. You can't go with first impressions about things. It can be very tempting to do that. I always advise you don't, and this is just another example of why you shouldn't. Now, what we're going to do here is first we're going to deal with the part that wasn't true to begin with. I want to say this to the world right now, and everybody around YouTube is waiting with bated breath for me to say exactly what this is. Folks, about the prenuptial agreement part of it. First of all, Dak already violated things because he got this woman pregnant. She's got the kid, so she already has the hooks in him. So the damage is done in many regards. It's already done. Okay. But when it comes to a prenuptial agreement, understand something here. A prenup, and there have been a lot of stupid takes out there. I mean, a lot of dumb takes. And I want to correct this tonight. You do not get a prenup to protect you from your spouse. You get a prenup to protect you from the state. Damn! You hear all these people out here talking on this issue, even some of them attorneys, and none of them break it down and distill it as concisely as what you just heard. There is no reason to argue, nor is there any reason to tolerate anybody trying to argue with you or defy you about it. If you come to somebody with a prenup, this is not about you trusting them. This is about you don't trust the state. That you are not going to leave your fate in the hands of the state. If this was just between you and the other person, that would be different. There's a reason why the state can't get involved when you're dating unless somebody tries to go really way out. You get a prenup because the state gives themselves powers. They give themselves powers, and you get a prenup to protect yourself from the state. Because it's the state, you might not be able to trust your spouse. You can deal with that. The problem is the state can impose things on you. So you want a prenuptial agreement to preclude the state having the power to impose things on you. So now you all understand the real reason for having a prenup is it protects you from the state. Any person, male or female, who says they want to marry you and yet demands that you do not protect yourself from the state, they just tip their hand that they're out to get you. Simple as that. They're letting you know, I'm here to get you. Now, if you keep walking with them after that, whatever happens after that, you have agreed and consented to because they just let you know, I'm out to get you. Yeah, don't put any obstacles in my way of me getting the state on you. So That's the game plan there. That's the scheme. All right, let's go ahead and deal with the part there that everybody came too late. We'll go ahead and get the part that everybody came too late about the so-called cheating rumors, cheating aspect of it there. So basically, Dak Prescott, he's typical numbskull athlete, jumped from one Instagram model to another because everything for them is about clout chasing and fulfilling some idea that they have in their heads. He's already made a terrible mistake here. He'll be fighting with this woman no matter what occurs. She's already got the kid, and she is going to milk that for everything it's worth. Folks, let me explain something to you. Do not deceive yourself into thinking that just because somebody is a professional athlete that they are not desperate. Desperation has absolutely nothing to do with your profession. Fragility has absolutely nothing to do with your profession. You take a look at Hollywood and you're able to wrap your head around the fact that a lot of these celebrities are mentally and emotionally fragile. But in professional sports, you have some of the most mentally and emotionally fragile males that you could find. Just because they're good at running a ball doesn't mean that they're solid at literally anything else. And as a result, that's what occurs. They find themselves very, very vulnerable. And that's where Dak Prescott is right now, because you see, you have a male here who offered her marriage that obviously he didn't even want. So the real question is, why was he pushing for marriage? He was the one who proposed to her. Why was he pushing for that when he didn't even want it? Let's just go ahead and say it for what it is. For the same reason that he got her pregnant. He got her pregnant because he didn't want anybody else gripping them butt cheeks. Damn! And that's just the bottom line. That right there. So he had already been with Natalie Buffett, and then he gets with Sarah Jane Ramos. And yeah, you're kind of insecure here. So when a male gets a female pregnant like that, he thinks he's putting his chit on it. Okay, I'm putting one of my chips on you here. Everybody else back off now, y'all. Y'all don't be touching my stuff over here. They're professional athletes, but in most cases, they're professional simps. He didn't want to marry her. He just wants to possess her because it's competition. And once she makes it clear that she's gotten in them circles, he gets scared because he knows the rest of the athletes don't give a damn if she's your baby mama. They don't give a damn if she's your wife. It's a bunch of damn Stephon Diggs all over sports, in every sport. Stephon Diggs are in plentiful supply. And so for that reason, they can't trust the chicks they lay down with. For that reason. They're very, very sketchy. They're very, very hazy. And they're very, very paranoid about that because they know what she did to get with him, and now he's worried that she's about to go do the same damn thing somewhere else. And she is, by the way. And she is. And there won't be nothing you can do to stop it. So what happened here was Dak got with her. He obviously was not thoroughly thrilled or pleased. And he was still out there talking to other females because he refused to make this female his only option. He gets her with a baby because he wants to be her only option, but he didn't really want her to be his only option. That's the first defect that you're dealing with there. That's the main defect that you're running into there. The next thing you're running into here, folks, and this is at epidemic rampant proportions today. You are seeing that the marriage lie, the matrimonial scam is just being exposed all over the place. What are they telling you? Everyone is trying to sell you a lie today, usually folk who are making money off of it.
Nigga, what?
They're making money off of it. Folks on social media, dating gurus, lawyers, attorneys, pastors, the state. Everyone is looking to get their dollar off of selling you on this idea. So what they've done is they've resorted to outright lying to you. They want all of you to be chomping at the bit to chase this. And why? What is it they promised you? Well, for the males, they've promised all the males, if you're having trouble getting sex, you should get married.
Nigga, please.
They're telling all the beta male simps out there that the real reason you don't have sexual access is because, well, you just haven't found the right chick to. If you could just get some female to marry you, well, then you will have unlimited sexual access. The only thing stopping you from getting all the sex you want is you haven't gotten married. So that's what you need to do. Okay, but then this starts you down a rabbit hole. Well, what about the quality of the female? Because if this is going to be the only chick I'm going to sleep with for the rest of my life, she's got to be everything I desire, because I'm not going to be wanting to run up on a booger wolf for the rest of my days. So she's got to meet a certain criterion in order for me to be like, okay, I can stay here, and this is the only thing on the menu for the remainder of my days. Well, yeah, the problem is that's where things fall off a cliff. Because the females you desire ain't looking to get married, and the females most looking to get married you don't desire, so it gets bad. It gets bad. The other thing is that statement's a complete and total lie. Marriage is a bigger obstacle to sex than anything else. Go ask all your married male friends. It's not like he's getting a triple X-rated cornucopia. There's always somebody's broke down mama's boy's simp online telling you, sitting up here simping out and spazzing out, trying to convince you that, his marriage is so great and so wonderful. Lie. Everyone's trying to sell you their highlight reel. Everyone's trying to sell you their highlight reel and that they've made it to the promised land and that everything is great and everything's swayzy, and everybody's lying because they have something to sell you. They want to sell it to the men because the men are the ones who will be paying 95% of the freight. The men are, I want y'all to understand something here. When it comes to the marriage industry, the men basically finance everything. You want to talk about international trade? When it comes to diamonds, men are financing the diamond trade. Men finance it. Men pay for it. The De Beers family, the Kimberly Exchange, they are direct and total beneficiaries of men's finances. For over a century, we are an entire whole part of the economy and the industry. So they make billions of dollars off of men. It's not women going off buying engagement rings, marriage rings. It's not women doing that. Only the men. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Now let's talk about the wedding. The simple fact of the matter is I had to remind people, you do know that it's supposed to be the bride's family that pays for the wedding, right?
Nigga, what?
By custom, the bride is supposed to pay for the wedding. However, in practice, that's not actually what occurs. Today, the fellas are financing the whole damn trip. These chicks are not paying for it. These chicks coming from single mother families, the women ain't paying for their own damn weddings. So they run up. This is why they got to get a simp or some desperate salary simp or pension pimp or beta male. It's the fellas out here carrying the whole damn freight. So I have to remind you all, by the way, for all these so-called wannabe traditional women, they get real modern real quick when you remind them, by the way, you're supposed to be paying for the wedding. So when you hear about wedding costs being $250,000, $400,000, $500,000 on average, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a wedding, well, that's not the women paying it. That's not the women paying it. That's the men paying it. No, they're not splitting it. That's the men paying. You got a chick with a bunch of credit card debt, student loan debt. These women, you have never gone to social media and heard a female telling you about how much her family paid for the wedding. Let's just stop the bull crap here. We're going to go ahead and slay all the sacred cows here tonight. And this is not the marriage program I've been promising y'all. We'll get to that. But just consider this to be a precursor. Go to your social media timeline. You have never in your life, you can't show me one time that you went on your social media timeline and a female was showing you receipts and invoices of what her and her family had to pay to host that wedding. Either because it's the man who paid for it, or if she paid for it, her and her family gonna spend about $1,000, $1,500. They're gonna go grab some roses from Walmart and a few balloons from Party City and call it a day. And that's it. They're gonna go get the cheapest building, the cheapest rundown house church. It ain't gonna be the bride in all white and that Cinderella wedding. All that goes away if the groom insists that she got to pay for it. Oh, all that dries up. You can't even show your female celebrities who do that. You can't even show female celebrities who do that. You can't name a single person on your timeline who she sat up here and showed her receipts of what her family had to pay. Of what she had to pay. Think about this. All these years you've been on social media, and some of y'all are just now figuring out, by the way, yeah, I've never seen a female show receipts for every damn thing else. If she buys a car, if she gets a house, oh, you get all the details. The wedding shows up and she doesn't tell you any details. Nothing about flowers, nothing about arrangements, nothing about decorations, nothing about anything. All of a sudden, it's just, hey, got married. There's a picture over there and no details. So yeah, once again, your online influencers and gurus and attorneys, none of them reminded you about this part, nor did they ask you. So I'm not just making this up. You know you haven't seen it. Now you know why. In reality, the bride is supposed to be paying for the wedding, traditionally. But in practice, that's not what's happening. In practice, the men are financing the entire wedding industry. They're paying for the whole damn thing. And if you went online and said, I'll be glad if she gets the money together to pay for the wedding, it'll be a bunch of females telling you as the man, damn tradition, you supposed to be the man and you should just be paying for it anyway. If you want to marry her, why are you not paying for your own wedding?
Oh, please.
That's what they'll be telling you. Yeah, in the feminism era, they sit up here and they say modernity for the females, but traditionalism for the males. It's like, no, we're all going to be traditional. Okay, well, traditionally speaking, ma'am, you're supposed to be paying for this wedding, so it better not be janky neither. Go wake your daddy and your mama up and tell them to go dip in their damn life savings. They got stuff to pay for.
And deal with it.
Wake your elderly ass daddy and your elderly ass mama up and tell them, hey, y'all got to go drop $200,000-$300,000, another mortgage here. You want your daughter married, right? Well, then get your ass up and carry this freight. I paid for the ring and you're supposed to pay for everything else. All of a sudden, folks gonna be hitting the brakes on you and start smart talking you and telling you about what they shouldn't have to do. And then they might sit up here and go spend $2,000 or $3,000 funky ass little dollars and then be like, okay, we did our part. They're sitting up there at Walmart buying up all the napkins, hoping they found the ones the right color. So I'm just reminding you all that folks make billions of dollars off of men, enticing you that, well, if you get married, from here on in, it's going to be triple X-rated sex and meals and everything's fine. And then you went through all of that, and that's everything it wasn't. And none of the folk who talked you into it are going to come back and have your back and take your side when things don't go the way they said it would. They're going to disappear. They're going to tell you it's your fault. They're going to tell you should have chose better. They're going to say you didn't do enough due diligence. You should have checked into it. That's what they're going to say. They are not going to say it's a scam. They're going to say it's your fault. They're going to blame you. You'll do everything they said. They'll sign off on the woman you married. And if it goes left, they'll tell you it's your fault. They will not say it's their fault. You know what marriage really needs? What marriage needs is insurance.
What? Damn!
Marriage needs insurance, folks. You never heard this concept before. Damn a prenuptial. We need to have marriage insurance. So that as a man, if you get married and the marriage becomes terminal, the insurance will take care of the rest. After all, everybody talked you into this and told you need to do this. So if they are so confident about it, then they should be able to write a policy for it. First time you all have ever heard that phrase. Yeah, we should have marriage insurance. Watch all the YouTubers out there say, damn, that was a good one, Jason. Damn, that was a good one, man. I gotta write that down. If we had marriage insurance, well, and that the folks who talked you into it, they would have to foot the bill if anything goes bad for divorce court, child support, whatever. If it goes bad, well, I got insurance. So, yeah, here you go. All right, I'm cashing out my policy. Yeah, if everybody else is so confident about it, they should be able to write a policy. We'll wait for that one. Yeah, all these married dudes and all these divorced dudes online, and none of them ever sat up here and told you all, by the way, what about marriage insurance? None of them ever said anything like that. What it shows you is none of them actually learned anything. None of them actually learned anything from their experiences. They went through it. They learned to be bitter. They didn't learn anything from it, and they certainly don't have a game plan. They don't have a game plan. No. When folks sit up here and say stupid, silly things about limiting marriage and marriage shouldn't be that long and, you should be able to, it should be a license that expires. What they're trying to do is reduce the risk and the accountability and responsibility on the females. They're trying to come up with something that still makes it free of charge for the women. What I'm saying is that, if this thing goes around like this, we should start getting folk billed for it. And what I'm talking about is a real bill with a real price. So things go differently there. Because when I talk about marriage insurance, I'm talking about you can get insurance or the bride's family has to put up a bond.
What? Auntie, chill.
Do you all think if the bride's family had to put up a bond, that if she is the one who initiates divorce, then the family has to pay the insurance or the bond if she does? Now, why is it nobody has said that? They have no problem putting that on the men because most males are just desperate for sex. They will lie, they will cheat, they will steal, they will work, they will slave. You want real answers? Here at the Definitive School of Power Dynamics, this is the only place that you've ever heard these concepts. We have them for cars. We have them for businesses. We have licensing and bonding is just another form of insurance for businesses. Okay, we have it for ventures. You have it for oil tankers. You have it for cruise ships. Well, then, in this case, why don't we just have it for the bride? If your family puts up a bond, not a dowry, a bond. And if your daughter files for divorce, then you will be responsible for the bond. And she can take action against you because you are going to indemnify. Look it up. You are going to insure me as the groom. So you're going to hold this bond for me. And if she files for divorce, well, then she can file against this bond I'm holding here, guaranteed by you, her family. Now let's get on down this damn aisle. At that point, folks, do you even need a prenup anymore?
What?
By the way, folks, at that point, do you even need a prenup anymore? Why is it that all these lawyers and gurus and YouTubers and asshats never said, all these allegedly intelligent, educated, been to school, been to law school, MBA, married, divorced, why is it none of them ever suggested what you all just heard from me here tonight? All these years of red pill retards and never said what you heard here tonight. Why is that? Because they just talk. They don't know anything. They're just hoping you know way less than them. But by the way, what I just told you all, that's something you could actually do. Here's the real thing. If the woman marrying you really wants you, well, why would that be an issue right there? It's like, no problem here, baby. You and your family put up a bond for it. And in the event that you decide to file divorce, that goes that way. In the event that I decide to file for divorce, you'll have a bond, I'll have a bond, and you'll have insurance, I'll have insurance. So if anybody wants to go after something, they can go after the insurance company or the holder of the bond. They can go after them. Now, you all just ask yourselves why it is all these so-called psychologists and college-educated people and experts and gurus and doctorates and PhDs never said any of this before tonight. Now it's going to spread like wildfire and everybody and their mama's going to start making this commonplace. They'll try to sit back real sneaky. They'll probably wait a few months before they say something. Hopefully he'll forget. I won't forget. So when you all hear these concepts suggested in the future, just remember where it started. Because the rest of these folks still will not have learned anything. They'll just be repeating what they heard here, which means there's still great big huge gaps missing, which I won't go into right now. Let them go ahead and suggest it and not tell you about the gaps. I like seeing them fall on their faces when they steal material. So as a man, when they're selling you marriage as unlimited sexual access, unlimited companionship, unlimited desirability. And that is a big lie. For the females, they're selling that to the females real easy. Get married so you can sit on your ass and have a soft life.
Oh, please.
They're selling it to women as a lottery ticket. Girl, you need to if you don't like working, get married. If you don't like working out, get married. If you don't like being in school, get married. If you just want to sit on your ass, get married. Go find a male and make him work and slave so that your new occupation in life becomes sitting around the house. Well, that's not a marriage. That's a lottery ticket. But that's what they're promising the females. You get married and that's what's supposed to happen. Please remember, when you go on social media, nobody's telling the females when you get married, you need to remember that you have to work. They always say the same thing. If you get married, he need to take care of everything. Those two things always come coupled together. The marriage and the benefits package. Oh, you ain't supposed to take care of everything. You ain't supposed to have to lift a finger. You supposed to live a soft life. And then when the males sit up here and say that's, oh, well, you don't want her working to take care of children, do you? I mean, she shouldn't have to worry about taking care of kids. So you need to take care of everything so she can sit around the house and take care of your kids. Here's the problem, folks. Do you realize that the majority of women today talking about they want their matrimonial soft life fantasy, these are a bunch of chicks over the age of 40 who don't have any kids or their kids are grown, and she's not going to give him any children.
Damn!
What? Oh, please.
Nobody has actually dissected the data and looked at the candidates to tell you, by the way, the majority of females out here pushing and nagging you for some soft life fantasy are over the age of 40, don't have any children, not offering the man they're marrying any children, and yet telling you that she needs to sit around the house so she can take care of. The justification is, well, somebody's got to stay home and take care of the kids, but you don't have any children. Not mine. And you're not offering me any children. The same women will say now all of a sudden the real thing comes out. It doesn't matter if I'm going to have children or not. I should still get to just sit around and do whatever. Your job as the man is to make my life easier at your expense. And we'll call that marriage. That sounds like exploitation and slavery to me. But for the women, when they sell it to them, ladies, you want to get married. So even if you don't have children, which is supposed to be the purpose of marriage, facilitating the perpetuation of the bloodlines, even if you don't want to have children, the man's supposed to be your lottery ticket. So that's what they sell it to the women as. And of course, naturally speaking, of course, it's going to be disastrous because you have shifted all the burden over to the males. You have given this outrageous standard to be at. It's been sold as a false bill of goods because it's not true. What you're selling him, he's never going to be able to get in the majority of cases. Not in all cases, no. In the majority of cases, that is not what he'll receive. You're telling him that he will have to be in the top 10% of men. He better work his ass off till he's in the top 10% of men. The problem is the female that he is with is not in the top 10% of women.
And deal with it, nigga.
But it's true. So they put the men on a hamster wheel chasing being in the top 10% of men for a female who's in the bottom 40% of women. Here's your marriage license. You see, when your granddaddy was coming up there, when your parents were coming up, when grandma was coming up there and whatnot, you take a look at what she was offering and take a look at what's being offered today. Take a look at what's being offered today. So they get you out here and they want you to be desperate and they want you to be chasing and everything is about how do we get the males to work harder? How do we get the males to do more? How do we get the males to give up more and get much, much less? As a matter of fact, not less, get nothing. So what they've done is most males are denied regular sexual access. And when those males become frustrated and they are in an absolute frenzy, what they then do is they then tell you, well, the only problem is you're not offering to finance a woman's life. Why should a woman want to be with you if you're not going to finance her life? They make that the specific requirement. That as a man, your whole reason for getting married is you're supposed to finance a woman's life. That right there. Everything else is negotiable and negligible, but you must finance her life. And then you get guys like Dak Prescott, and here's the issue with these professional athletes. For them, they're young and they often get so much money that to them the money becomes worthless. He starts looking over his life and saying, well, hell, if I got $50 million, am I going to miss 1 or 2 million of it? Hell, it's just sitting in the bank anyway. I'm going to make that back next season. He doesn't understand that you're not, when you get these women pregnant or when you get them married, she's no longer eligible for a small piece of what you get. From here on in, she gets percentages. And the state is behind her because they want their cut. So they prey on men's constant, perpetual desperation. And then they sell you on this lie, and there's a bunch of folk on social media telling you that mess too, that you need to get married. And the real thing is they're saying that to you because they don't have any actual answers to give you. Case in point, the people most badgering you about that, fellas, have you noticed that these are not people that the women who say it are not women that you would want to marry, and the men pushing it are not men that you would want to be like.
What? Damn!
Let me just go ahead and blow the lid off of that. All these jackasses and ass clowns out here badgering you and pestering you and telling you about being married and nagging you. The women saying it, are these women that any of you fellas actually desire to marry? And why is it that nobody's asked these questions before tonight? The women saying it and nagging and putting up their videos and like, okay, well, she's giving this advice. Well, that means I'll get a chick like her. So is this somebody I would want? Is this the ideal candidate I'd want to do that for? And for the moist sap fellas out there talking, it's like, do I want to become him? He's pushing this. And like, dude, I'm looking at your life and the way you live. Do I want to be you? Because if I listen to you, I'm going to become you. I'm going to become you. So, do I really want that? Now we come to the last part of it right here. The real issue here, folks, is that the married dudes are mostly in desperation. This is the quiet, dirty little secret. The married dudes wish they were still single.
And deal with it.
The dirty little secret is that for all of your slack-jawed, mush-mouthed, flap-lipped, so-called marriage gurus, the dirty little secret is the married dudes desperately wish they were still single. They jumped the broom, they crossed the line. They thought that the perks they got when they were single would continue. And the truth of the matter is, ladies, can we just go ahead and say it right quick? For women, for most women today, and I don't even like to say most, but for most women today, let's just say what it is. Most women consider marriage to be a mile marker that a goal that she needs to get you over the line for. So she has leverage so that she can change the deal.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
She really just considers that to be a line that she needs to get you over so that she can change up everything she's been doing. Now that she's got leverage and you belong to the state, now I can change all that. If the women listening were totally honest, they would say, yeah, I really just want to get you to get me married So everything I was doing before I got married, I can stop doing it. Only now you don't have the option of objecting anymore. If most women today were honest about their motives for wanting to get married, they would say that, yeah, I don't want to do the stuff I was doing before I got married. That's just the sweetener I got to put in there to get you over the finish line, because it's a bait and switch. And as soon as I get you over that line, okay, now I can drop the other shoe. If most women were being honest, they would just admit that that's their ideal goal. That your ideal goal is really, yeah, it's the means to an end. If I really want to get my hooks in you, marriage gives me the most leverage. So I really got to find a fella out there who'll let me get these hooks deep off up in him. But when I get married, I'm not getting married because I like what I'm doing. I'm getting married so I can stop doing everything I was doing before I got to this point. If most women were being honest, they would just admit, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I really just want to stop. I'm just doing this just enough to get my equity out the game. And once I got it, yeah, I'm getting married so we can stop doing this. There's no female sitting around talking about, boy, once we get married, here comes the triple X-rated sex, and I'm feeding him grapes, and I'm gonna be his everything. And no, there's not a single female out there talking like that. None. Not one. You notice, by the way, you notice the females got real quiet with that. When you say that part right there, it's like only be one or two of them to speak up then and say, and then there'll be the older women. No disrespect, ladies. Damn! But yeah, the young chicks are not going to say anything right now because they're sitting there quietly hoping that the jackass simp that they're sitting next to doesn't hear what I'm saying or figure this out or take it seriously. Don't worry, ladies. Most of them won't. Don't worry. Most of them won't. Once I'm done talking, you'll rub him on the leg and he'll just forget everything I said and you'll be back to having him wrapped around your finger. But yeah, the truth of the matter is they're not getting married because they want to do more. They're getting married specifically so they don't have to. That's the game plan. And once I get you married, you've signed a contract, but that contract doesn't obligate me to continue doing anything I was doing before we got married. Now, the state will obligate you as the man. They'll obligate you to continue doing what you were doing. But nobody's going to obligate me to do anything. Fellas, all upside, all benefits for her, no liabilities. No wonder they're sitting up here nagging you and badgering you and telling you you have to do that. No wonder. And then once you do it, everything goes south. Case in point, you want to know what happened to Dak Prescott? Y'all want to know what happened to Dak Prescott? I'll show you what happened to him. I'll show you what happened to him. What happened to Dak Prescott was this right here on your screen. Damn! That right there, that's what happened to Dak Prescott. See, when he first met the chick, it was triple X rated, draws handed, everything was hot and sweaty and sticky. As soon as she got that baby, she was like, okay, well, hey, get your hands off of me. Back up, hands off me, I'm pregnant. Le Mans classes. Everything's about serving me hand and foot. I've got my dog children. Now I've got a human child. So you know that's what the hell happened. You know that's what happened. You got her pregnant. And as soon as that happened, she started giving you the first signs that, oh, the bait and switch is coming. The bait and switch is coming, and all that stuff I was doing before I got pregnant. And get hands off of me. You need to keep taking care of everything, but hands off of me. We have to concentrate on the baby. We have to worry about that. We have to concentrate on that. Now, you have to keep doing everything you were doing, Dak. You better get out there in that field and get you a new contract and get the money rolling up here. And I need my soft life, But but other than that, it's okay. Dak, your sacrifices, you not getting what you want, I know it's a hardship, but your pain is a sacrifice that I am willing to make. So I'm letting you all know that it's my position that was the first sign that came through there. He started seeing, oh hell, things switched up and things changed up. Now she got the kid. How do I keep her and keep the, quote, family intact? You don't have a family yet, but how do I keep the family intact when she's showing that this is the way things are going to be? Letting you know that this is the way things are going to be. So what Dak did was, once he couldn't take anymore, he's like, okay, I'm an NFL player. I got options. But Dak, if you wanted to preserve those options, that is a privilege. That is a privilege reserved for unmarried men with no children.
And deal with it, nigga.
That's the way that goes. See, the problem is when you become a weak-ass simp and you start giving in and making concessions and giving up your power and handing women power and authority over you. Soon as you do that, you immediately have buyer's remorse. You immediately have buyer's remorse. You watched all these other men throughout your life sit up here and get took. And then you got desperate and walked off and got your ass took too. And then as soon as that happens, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Can I get a mulligan? Can I get a do-over? I got buyer's remorse. Can I bring this back? I got my receipt. Can I get a return? That is the average married male today. The average married male today, the majority of married men today are living lives of quiet desperation. They wish things were different, but it can't be. He signed a contract and now he's running around talking like everything's great. Hell yeah, you have to, because if you publicly admit what you really think, she can do all kinds of terrible things to you. She can do all kinds of awful things. So you sit up on social media splaining and fronting, but in reality, you dudes are sitting there at home. It's like, man, oh, this sucks. Well, at least I got some kids out of it. They sound like hoes. Afraid to tell the truth about it. And this is why OnlyFans is so overpopulated with married men. A damn near 90% married men. Now, if your marriage was providing you with all of this electric sex, why are you on OnlyFans? If your marriage was providing you with all this heat and desire, OnlyFans would be an unnecessary and undesirable bill. You wouldn't be there if your marriage was giving you everything you needed. You're on OnlyFans because it's not. So do y'all realize how many dudes got OnlyFans accounts and then lying and faking and jiving and coming to social media trying to tell the rest of you all about how great I love my wife and love my marriage. Yeah, he loves his wife so long as he can keep his OnlyFans. Damn! Yeah, I can keep my marriage to you just so long as I have my OnlyFans. Being with you is not enough. I gotta have some other options. You're not enough. So the simple fact of the matter is, the dirty little secret that nobody wants to talk about here because it destroys their little matrimonial scam industry, is that the married dudes all wish they were single again. They all wish they had their options. They all wish that when they walk through the grocery store and see a female who smiles at them, when they go to the airport and have a female who smiles at them, a female who doesn't walk around in sweats and Crocs.
Oh, please.
Oh man, there's a bunch of married dudes right now sitting up here squirming in their seats. You better do it real subtle, nigga. Do it real subtly. You don't want to see it right now. You don't want that. You don't know when was the last time that heifer could fit into a size 6 or size 8 skirt. You can't remember the last time it happened. Memory blank glitch. So, man, you don't want to go to Home Depot. You don't want to go to the grocery store. You don't want to do that. Because then you see some females that can wear a size 6 or a size 8 and they got a smile on their faces. And you're like, I'll be damned. I can't remember the last time I had all of that in one package. Can't remember that. Oh, man. If marriage made females more sexy and more sophisticated, you wouldn't have to badger men about marriage. If the hottest, sexiest women were the married women, you wouldn't have to badger the men and whine and complain and gaslight and lie your ass off to the men. If the men looked around them and saw, you know what, the sexiest, finest, classiest, nicest, most pleasant females are the married ones. If that's what men saw, you wouldn't have to badger them for it. And when you start trying to sell them on marriage, you would be saying, by the way, that's where the nice ones are. Y'all are not offering. Now you're saying, hey, fellas, well, you know, if you want more sex, really, the females would give you more sex if you just do whatever they say, and you'll get more sex if you just do whatever they say. Well, Dak Prescott did that. Dak did that. Dak went off here and decided, okay, let me go ahead and play my cards, and we'll go ahead and try the marriage thing. Okay, well, we messed around and got her pregnant. That'll keep other men's hands off of her. But then she let him know that, I'm on social media, so it'll probably be somebody else take me with your kid. And next thing you know, you're looking like Future with Russell Wilson. Damn! So Dak, by the way, Dak. See, this is why, old girl, some of these chicks, when they get with these athletes, they be running through the whole damn locker room. They want to make sure they got a second there. By the way, Dak, you know the wide receiver over there was winking at me. He doesn't mind following up behind you. So at the next training camp, your son or daughter, the baby, at the next training camp for the Minnesota Vikings. What? Imagine your kid with the news reporters and ESPN and Sports Illustrated taking pictures of a running back in Tennessee with your kid. Oh, Dak, you know, you never know. We could look up during training camp and Patrick Mahomes is holding your baby. Damn! You don't want that, do you, Dak? Well, the only way that wouldn't happen is if we got married, so don't think making me a single mom gonna take me off the market, nigga. Then we just gonna go extra dirty. Take a look at Cardi B and Stephon Diggs. Take a look at Cardi B and Stephon Diggs. The game is dirty, dude. It's dirty. So if you think that making me a single mom is going to protect you, I'll be right out there at spring training camp with Brittany Renner and Cardi B, seeing if I can nab me somebody with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. See if I can get one of them. But one way or another, your kid is going to be on the gridiron with me taking pictures with somebody. So maybe if we get married, you can hold that off. You think? You think? In the chat room, no, Texas does not have a child support cap, not the way you're thinking about it. So like I say, the internet is just filled with folks who they don't really know things. They just repeat stuff they saw in other people's rooms. They don't read anything. They don't look at anything. They just the ADHD generation. What they say, we got the dumbest generation ever after Gen X. The IQs are just all going down. They don't read anything. They just read a headline. They read a tweet. In many cases, it isn't even linking to an article, no documentation. I read that, it might be true. A bunch of knuckleheads pass around the same meme. This is a child support cap. And literally, if you actually read the law in Texas, which I've done, covered this before, by the way, no, it is not a child support cap, not the way you're thinking about it. It is not, which is why you're not hearing anybody scared to go to Texas. It is not a child support cap the way you think about it. Go get educated on it, and then you'll realize, oh, hell. This thing has 2 loopholes in it big enough to fly a 777 through. So when folks don't understand things, they don't understand things. So Dak Prescott wishes that he were single. He got the chick. He got exactly what he wanted. And then the next thing he did there was be upset about it. And then he's still talking to other females. It's like, hell yeah, because he's like, I'll be damned. I miss that single life. I ain't trying to be Mr. Mom. I'm still competitive. She wants to sit on her ass and sit down. I ain't trying to do that's her life goal. I'm trying to get championships. I'm not trying to do that. And so Dak found himself in the unenviable position. He found himself in the unenviable position of having to sit up here and not be single anymore and just stuck with it. In the chat room, Ghost Rider 247, you need to be on Zoom. You got 2 minutes. Let's go ahead and get this up here since he's going to educate all of us about that. He's going to go ahead and get on Zoom. You got 2 minutes. So since he's got so much to say, as a matter of fact, you claim you claim you got an attorney. Your girl is, not this my girl is, okay. Let's go ahead and talk to her too so that she can educate all of us about that. But by the way, you got 2 minutes to be on Zoom. The link is pinned at the top of the chat room so you can go ahead and educate all of us. No more commenting in the chat either, by the way. So you're done commenting in the chat. You got 2 minutes. That's more than long enough there so that he can regale us with his legal knowledge. The rest of you, if you would like to Google Texas child support statute. If you would like to Google the Texas child support statute, you can. And as soon as you all do, y'all are going to be like, oh, hell. So if you're going to take legal advice from fonts in a chat room, you got folks who are fonts in the chat room. Here's my legal advice. In my expert opinion, I've checked into it. Trust me, bro. My girl's an attorney. Trust me, bro. My girl's an attorney. Trust me, bro. Who's your girl? Let me go ahead and hire her. I can't say anything. Oh, okay. Trust me, bro. So, welcome to this era. Just like on social media, everybody lies their asses off. You know what they don't do? What they don't do is say, go to Google and fact check me. Now that they don't do. I'm the only person who does, but because I got to stand behind this. When I say something, I got to stand behind it and stand on it. So I'm the only person you all know who, when I say things, I say, by the way, go to Google and check me. Go prove me wrong. Both of us can't be right. We can both be wrong, but we can't both be right. So, yeah, why don't we go ahead and Google what I'm saying and prove me wrong? Okay. All right. So as I was saying here, folks, I mean, it's a brutal reality here that Dak Prescott is getting introduced to. And in the world today, everybody tries to sell their social media as their highlight reel. And the fact is, most of them are lying. It's a bunch of females lying to other females because they never really accomplished very much in life. So the only thing she could really do is get married. And she's trying to promise, I found my happily ever after, but that's code speak among females. I found a sap to give me a soft life, and they ain't got no soft life. None of them pushing a G-Wagon. None of them pushing the 7 Series. None of them pushing a Range Rover Autobiography. None of them pushing a 7,000 square foot house. It's like, baby, she's still working at the same damn job you at. Nothing changed for her except, well, she's got a fella who signed up for it. Okay, and? I mean, if that's the flex, all right, I guess if you're just lonely, okay. And there's a lot of lonely chicks out there, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of lonely chicks out there. But a lot of folk are falling for the marriage scam in this regard. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to get married. You want to go ahead and do that. That's perfectly fine. I'm saying the exact same thing that I've always said since day one. If you're going to sell people on marriage, sell them on what it actually is. Don't sell them on lies of something that it isn't. You see, if you were really legit about this marriage thing you keep pushing and badgering men for, you would just be honest about what the men will actually get. You wouldn't have to lie to them and make up a bunch of bull crap. You wouldn't have to do that if it were legit. But it's not. Which is the reason that you're doing that, because now, if you just came straight out and said what it actually was and went into the details and started off by telling the fellas what they will no longer get, if this chick is really worth that, it goes a different way. But of course, you're not going to be honest because you can't. Because if you were, you know that the rest of the saps, even the saps, would get up and walk. And you got some money you're trying to make. So what they really do is prey on men's desperation. And Dak Prescott is the next one to get got. Because he went off and got the chick pregnant. But in reality, he wasn't willing to give up anything else. And he wishes desperately that he was single again. And when he finally couldn't take it anymore, wishing he was single, he just said, screw it. And he just... let me go hit the DMs. You see, that's the other part of this equation that folks are not talking about here. And by the way, the Zoom is open. So far, Ghost Rider and his attorney girl
Lie.
haven't shown up on Zoom yet. Surprise. I'm sure you're all shocked out there. Big surprise. I'm sure you're all shocked. Yeah. However, for the rest of you there, if you want to go ahead and log into Zoom and go ahead and speak to us here, you can definitely go ahead and do that for us as well. It's Friday night here, and I am laying the smack down on some of these lies about this stuff right here, just to say for the millionth time, it's like, yeah, yet another dummy bites the dust. Dak, you know, you fellas are sitting up here thinking that if you give away everything you got, then the female will feel obligated to uphold, quote unquote, her end of the bargain. Man, that's not the way females think. Females have absolutely no problem whatsoever promising their girlfriend something and then immediately not showing up for it. They have no problem doing that whatsoever. Men need to beware of subscribing masculine characteristics and personality traits and social traits to females. I'm not saying that there aren't females who do. What I'm saying is you can't make assumptions. And the prettier a female is, the more grievances that she thinks she can commit. Please understand, when you got a chick who's getting told that she's cute all the damn time, she interprets that as, I can get away with murder. I can do anything I want. I can do no wrong and I can do anything I want. And that's the way that's going to be. So when they go walk you off into these things and whatnot, it's like, dude, being an NFL player is not going to save you. Being a professional athlete's not going to save you. Backing up the Brinks truck and telling her, here you go, lady. Here's the Publishers Clearinghouse Jackpot Sweepstakes Grand Prize. Here it all is. I mean, yeah, you're going to get her, geeking out over it and for a day. She'll do that for a little bit. But then you're going to have to bootstrap another event. You got to keep this train rolling. But eventually you're going to run out of hat tricks. You can't keep this up forever. And then the real thing comes out. Here's the issue I have right here. The question I always ask, dude, if you wanted to marry her, you would have married her in the first place. You wouldn't have gotten her pregnant if she was wife material. If you really felt solid about her being a wife, how did you get her pregnant and you weren't married to her? Because you knew that wasn't wife material. Then why did he change his mind? Obviously something changed and he felt threatened. Obviously something changed and he felt threatened. Something changed and he felt threatened. There are a lot of males out there tonight and they are just scared. They are scared. They are paranoid. Yeah, because they don't get regular sexual access or they don't get it from what they want. You see, Dak Prescott, and this is why I keep talking about this, he had a image in his head. Take a look on your screens. This is the image he had in his head. This is why I chose these two pictures. These two pictures basically epitomize how he feels about himself, what he thinks about himself. This is basically Dak Prescott. This is what he thinks of himself, and this is what he thinks his life is supposed to look like. That at least for appearance's sake, this is how his life is supposed to appear. And all he's been looking for is for the females to know they role and play their part and go ahead and get along with the program. But the truth of the matter is the candidates that he's choosing, yeah, I mean, all the looks are in place, but that's not really... It's the characteristics, that's not really what he wants. Or he's afraid to tell them what he really wants.
Damn!
Y'all, am I going to go there tonight? Let me go ahead and go there tonight. These fellas are afraid to tell these females that they don't want exclusivity. You're a professional athlete and you ain't even got the guts to do like Iman Shumpert. At least I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him and literally only about 2 or 3 others. At least them fellas, hey, they real niggas. They told the chicks, hey, baby, I ain't with the exclusive thing. So if you get with me, you better be all right with another chick. Because I ain't hitting the brakes and I'm not even slowing down. So if you gonna be with me, I don't do exclusivity. I don't do that. So at least with some of these cats here, at least I'll give them their props. And hey, he just come out the gap and say, yeah, I don't do the exclusivity thing. I don't do that. I don't do that. These fellas are professional athletes with literally hundreds of millions of dollars and scared of a female to tell her, yeah, this is what the deal is. The deal gonna be this right here. I don't do exclusivity. I don't do that. You don't get to quiz me. You don't get to interrogate me. And I don't do exclusivity. I don't do that, baby. I am the man. I am the bag. You can either go ahead and get yourself validated and verified for it, or you can keep it moving. You can validate it or you can keep it moving. This is why. Okay, Diggs is not pimping. Diggs is an idiot. But anyway, Diggs is okay. If anybody thinks, okay, just I'll let the silliness of that speak for itself. Stephon Diggs with how many kids by how many different women? We got a couple of guys in here on the slow bus. It's just, all right, y'all. The short bus just opened the doors. No, fellas, no. Stephon Diggs is a moron. You give women power over you. Basically, he's going to be working the rest of his life to keep them broads and the dogs off of him. Dak Prescott is only going to be a little bit better. But do you think that this chick is going to take it easy on him now? Now that he's just derailed her plans to get married, because she was going to go ahead and take the whole bank. Now that she just derailed those plans, thank you, Prince, a pimp gets paid.
And deal with it, nigga.
We got fellas in here misusing whole terms. A pimp gets paid. These fellas are sitting up here financing the chicks. Chris Brown is getting the chicks to break him off.
Nigga, what?
Chris Brown's about the closest thing in this game we got to a pimp right now. Chris Brown got the females paying him. Think about that for a few moments. She paid for a concert ticket and then paid another $1,000, $1,100 on top of that. So Chris Brown's about the closest thing we got to a pimp right now. He's about the only one leveraging the game properly right now. That's about it. These other dunces and doofuses, it's like, okay. These chicks roll up. That heifer never had a six-figure automobile in her life. We already covered this before. These a bunch of chicks, they ain't never had a six-figure automobile in all their born days. They've never driven a six-figure car since the day they were born. The first time she got a six-figure car was when she met you. That's the first time she ever had it. She never had a six-figure piece of jewelry, never had a four-figure piece of clothing, never had a six-figure car, never had a four-figure shoes. She never had any of that before she met you. She was sitting on Instagram doing just like the rest of... Let me explain something, y'all. Do you know the real reason why these chicks call themselves Instagram models? And there's 3 cities that they want to live in. New York, LA, or Miami. Have you all realized why that is? They want to live there because that's where the major exotic car dealerships are. But more than that, these areas are grossly overrepresented in exotics. I mean, if you go to Miami on a Friday or Saturday night, there's $300,000, $500,000 cars all over the place, whether they're rented or not. Whether they're rented or not. You can go all over the place. You go to downtown Orlando. There's Benzes and Bentleys and Ferraris. They're all over the place. You can't get away from them on a weekend. Yeah, much less a regular day of the week. But especially on a weekend, I'm just saying you can just go from one place to another taking pictures all over the damn place. Same thing in Los Angeles. Although not quite to the extent of Miami. Miami is really the undisputed king right now, but LA got plenty of exotic cars on view rolling around on the weekends. New York, plenty of exotic cars all over the place. Houston, Dallas, not quite as many as Miami, but they got exotic cars all over the place. So these IG models in Atlanta or certain cities where folks roll around in them cars all the time, they know that's an easy spot to go photobomb. All right, let me take y'all a little bit further. I shouldn't be saying this. Not supposed to say this. You know what? As a matter of fact, let me just not say that. Let me just not say what I'm going to say next. I'm going to preserve that. I'll do that on Patreon tomorrow. Let me just do that on Patreon tomorrow. Although it's come to my attention that exactly what I suspected, there's a bunch of niggas in here abusing the damn business.
Nigga, what?
Yeah, there's some cats in here. They taking the advice I'm giving them. They taking the advice I'm shaving off for them, and they are misusing and abusing their powers. Yes, somebody gives them the inside track and give them the inside game, and then next thing you know, they go abusing their powers. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle y'all with a little bit of it. Just a little bit of it. There's a reason why they choose those cities in particular. And there are specific places that these specific females choose for a reason. They're choosing specific cities, but these specific cities also have some specific places that you can't just get anywhere. You can't just get it anywhere. So there's a reason why they all dogpile in these places. If anybody wants to know, I'll let you know tomorrow on Patreon. I'll go ahead and give you the whole rundown about that, how it works. Even though lately it's come to my attention that folks are abusing this information. It's come to my attention that just as I predicted, there are folks who are abusing the information. By the way, y'all, you do know the Ghost Rider with the girlfriend who's a lawyer.
Nigga, please.
You know he hasn't called in yet, right? You know he hasn't shown up on Zoom yet. So my mods can go ahead and ban him. But by the way, yeah, he hasn't shown up yet. This is why this modern era, why they want to clamp down on the internet so much, because if you actually have hosts of programs who are serious and really want to filter out the bull crap, we can get the world straight. When dudes sit up here and say cowardly stuff and then run like that, it's like, yeah, you find out that quickly. Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. We really need to desperately filter down what needs to be done. We need to filter it down about what we need to do to make sure that misinformation doesn't get circulated all the damn time. Some jackass just because he's got a cell phone and a YouTube account and they're just saying anything. Completely wrong, completely erroneous. He's telling you his girlfriend's an attorney. This nigga works at the Scoopy Dip. This nigga works at Marble Slab, trying to tell you he's got a girlfriend who's an attorney. It's okay. So what's happening right now is that people are getting a brutal wake-up call about the marriage scam in this regard. The married dudes wish they were single. They desperately wish they were single. They're walking off into that damn meat grinder. And they're finding out, yeah, I'm not really trying to do that. Yeah, see, they can sit up here and post pictures, and it's all fun and games at the beginning for the cameras, and y'all are sitting up there smiling and cheesing and grinning. Yeah, you can pull that bull crap for a little while, but eventually that chick is going to drop the load. Eventually she's going to move into the house, and the real thing's going to come out, and then you're going to do what most of these guys have to do. You're either going to suffer in silence, or you're going to suffer in chasing. But it's going to be one or the other. You're going to do that. Once again, I am not, sitting up here criticizing marriage like that. I'm not condemning it. I'm just saying everybody, folks are just lying across the board and they know it. They're just lying to you about what you're actually going to get and who you can actually get it from. They're just lying. And they know it. Then I'm guessing they know they're lying to you because they're trying to sell something. They're trying to sell you on a concept. They're trying to sell you on a dream. They're trying to sell you on a book. They're trying to sell you on a course. They're trying to sell you on a TV program and promising you that if you enter into this institution under these corrupted circumstances we live in today, this will give you whatever it is you want. Then when you walk off into it and you realize, oh hell, it was a trick bag. Those folks are not going to come back to make good on what they sold you. Dak Prescott is yet again another individual who's finding out that money doesn't make you an alpha. Money doesn't make you an alpha, nor does money keep you from being desperate. Dak Prescott is just desperate for what he sees as a good look. These guys go for that kind of thing. They tell themselves, well, of course, I'm a quarterback in the NFL, so everything's going to fall into place. Nothing could be further from the truth, but they do it anyway. Money does not make you an alpha. Guess what? Money also doesn't keep you from being lonely.
Damn!
These guys are out here and whatnot, and one of the things they found out is that what do you do when you've got enough money to buy everything you ever dreamt of having twice? What do you do then? So a lot of these fellas are just lonely. They are lonely. They are fragile. They are desperate for human connection. They don't really know how to operate by themselves. And they are looking for the first port in the storm that they can find. They're looking for the first port in a storm that they can find. And what they don't realize is that, as I've told you all before, the math is absolutely pristine. It's not clear. It's pristine. It's completely transparent. The number of females who are 8s or 10s is plentiful. It's all over the place. And if you want to add in plastic surgeons to the mix, then the number of pretty females, we're overwhelmed with them. The number of men who are confident, intelligent, life of the party producers with their money and their social status together, those are as rare as hen's teeth.
And deal with it, nigga.
That's what's rare. Pretty females are common. Productive men who are highly desirable, not a total bore, at the top of their game, incredibly personable. That's what's ultra rare. Pretty females are all over the place. Peak value men are rare. You have a lot of fellas out there telling themselves as long as they make a certain income, doesn't that mean that I'm a producer? Doesn't that mean I'm at the top? Well, you're a professional alpha. You certainly have the money aspect. You're missing everything else. What Dak Prescott, and by the way, this is hella embarrassing. This is hella embarrassing, and rightfully so for him. This is embarrassing for him. Man, you sat up here and did all this work. You sent out all these wedding invitations. Folks done bought airline tickets. Maybe you all reserved the hotels for them. You're supposed to, whether you did or not. Okay, we'll see. You sat up here and you did all that just at the last minute for it to get canceled. I mean, you are... I don't care what's happened to any of the rest of you this year. You did not make international headlines for your wedding getting canceled. Like if some of y'all at your job, if you told your coworkers you were getting married and then the wedding got canceled for whatever reason, you wouldn't want anybody to ever ask you about that again. You would be embarrassed that you ever announced that you were engaged. Now imagine in his case, the wedding was on, everything was a go. This will be having this wonderful destination wedding, and then in front of the world, it gets announced, yeah, we're canceling that. I mean, that is humiliating. That's humiliating. To find yourself in that situation under these conditions. You know what it looks like? It looks like you ain't handling your business. It looks like you ain't got things together, because you don't. Because you don't. Here's the issue, Dak. All of this lies at your feet, my dude. All of this lies squarely at your feet. Let me explain something right now. Dak Prescott is a weak, little, light-skinned, biracial nigga. What? Oh, Jason, you beating up on him. No. Listen very carefully right here. This falls at his feet. Dak, you shouldn't have been having to hide these hoes.
Damn!
How the hell are you Dak Prescott? Which obviously that name doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any value other than being a jersey somewhere. So I'm Dak Prescott, nigga. You might as well be Pee Wee Herman. Bruh, how is it you a man sitting on as much as you're supposed to have, with as much status as you're supposed to have, and you sneaking around? That chick is supposed to come through the damn door helping you select side hoes.
And deal with it, nigga.
How the hell are you sitting up here? You're in a preeminent league. You got all these resources, all these tools. If you want to have side chicks, she's supposed to be sitting right there arranging airline tickets. She's supposed to be saying, I think this one over here is a cute one. You sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars of value and contracts and endorsements. How the hell are you doing that? And you got to sneak around. You're supposed to have everything you want. So if you want to have her as the baby mama, you're supposed to have that. If you want to have her as the wife, you're supposed to have that. If you want her to be the wife and you got the mistresses, you're supposed to have that. How much does a man need to do before he can have it all?
Damn!
Before you little sissified thong wearing mama's boys and Timberland wearing overalls wearing butch chicks be trying to get mad at me. How much does a man need to do before he can just come through the front door and be who he gonna be? You want to talk about coming out the closet? How productive, how much do you have to accomplish before you can just come through the front damn door with it? How much value do you have to provide to other people around you before you can just be you and come through the front door with it? So you got to sneak from the side of the house through the window? It's your house. You paid for the damn house. It's your house and you have to sneak into it? You bought this extraordinary palatial estate. You are in the top half of 1% of men and you have to sneak around to be who you really are? You weak ass spineless bastards. What the hell? You are a waste of wealth and status. They should send all your checks to a real nigga. How much does a man need to do? Take a look at what Dak Prescott has done. How much more do you need to do before you can just be that dude? Getting permission? She should be grateful, heifer. You was just another fake false flagging Instagram quote unquote model turning tricks in Dubai before this man decided to give you a child. You were nobody. And the one before you was nobody. How the hell you gonna complain to him about anything he wants to do while you are living a life unparalleled? At least Cardi B had that much sense at the beginning. Till Stephon Diggs just brings the hoes to the stadium. It's like, Stephon, you can't do that now. Don't do that. Come on now. But then again, Cardi B, if he's not married to you, you can't claim that you are that you're special, baby. You just one on the roster, so you can't demand extraordinary authority when you're on a roster. You're just one among several. And you ain't really holding any cards to be able to make demands. You're not really doing that. Folks, this is basic logic right here. I'm not playing with y'all on Friday the 13th. I ain't playing with y'all on Friday the 13th. How much, take a look at what Dak Prescott got. How much more are you expecting from him before he can just be who he needs to be? How much more do you think he needs to do? Take a look at everything he's done, and you telling me you can't, you on side chicks? Well, you ain't did enough for that. Really? Because that's what y'all told the nigga who works down in Circle K. You told him that he hasn't done enough. You told the fella who works for the city that he hasn't done enough. You told the 40-hour work week dude he hasn't done enough. So they sit up here and tell the fellas, the average dude, they tell you ain't did enough to have no side chicks. Okay, you damn me, Dak Prescott, he can't have it neither. But you just told these other fellas that if they had their money and their game together, you got to earn that. Okay, so Dak hasn't? What I'm saying is he's weak as hell. He should be able to sit her ass down and just say, hey, this is what it's going to be. Like the mafia. Welcome to the family. This what it's going to be. I'm not sneaking around a damn. How the hell am I sitting on as much as I am and you got to beat out the competition and I'm going to sneak around? I'm not sneaking a damn thing around with you. I'm not sneaking around nothing. You have to qualify to be with me. I don't have to qualify to be with you. You got to qualify to be with me. Well, these the rules. These the rules. And she's supposed to satisfy your requirements. A man shouldn't be sitting on $100 million sneaking around nothing. Folks, you've been so badly miseducated in the idiotic internet age. How the hell is a man got $100 million and sneaking around for nothing? He shouldn't have to use an incognito or use shadow accounts on social media. He shouldn't have to use no shadow accounts. He should have 3 or 4 of them broads in the DMs. Here's your NDA. Here's your NDA.
And deal with it, nigga.
Damn right. Hate if you want to. At least Diddy had that part correct.
Nigga, what?
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
I said it. At least Diddy had that part right. Here's your NDA. Here's your NDA. Here's your NDA. Okay. Welcome to the Side Chick Club. Welcome to the Side Chick Club. Okay. Now we can do this. Welcome to the Side Chick Club. How the hell is it you sitting in Dak Prescott's position and you have to lie to a single soul on earth? What the hell is that? That you have to lie to anyone, sneak around to anyone. How the hell is she your wife? If she's your wife, she's supposed to be, and you sitting the way you are, she's supposed to be down for everything. And if she isn't, back to the streets, I banish you. No, fellas, y'all need to know how the hell that works. Some dudes don't understand. When it comes to multiple having a non-exclusivity, that's not something you fight and argue with. That's settled law. That's supposed to be settled law. How much more does a man need to do before he can qualify for that and ain't got to sneak around or hide it? So they'll let you be bisexual.
Damn!
Okay, you can be bisexual, but you can't be tri-females. You can't have more than one female. Get the hell up out of here. So they'll respect your lifestyle if you sexually fluid. Okay, it's like, okay, the sexual fluid has multiple chicks up in there. Pause. So if you want to know from my perspective where Dak Prescott is weak at, the weak part of it is, dude, how the hell are you marrying a chick and she ain't down for whatever in the hell you bring up here? You did not sit up here and make her qualify for nothing. You didn't make her qualify for anything. See, this is the part of the conversation that's zero. Nobody, nowhere had this part of the conversation. This is what I'm saying. You're all wrong. Everyone who's talking about this, you're all wrong. Everyone's wrong on this. It's all lies. It doesn't matter if Dak Prescott was talking to other females. Baby, you got to qualify to be with him. I fault him because if he got to tiptoe around with her, dude, how the hell are you sitting where you are in life and got to tiptoe around? I'm just saying it should be on Front Street. Yeah, baby, this is how we get down over here. This is what it's going to be. Now you can ball or bounce. That's it. You can ball or you can bounce. But we're not going to fight. We're not going to argue. You're not going to put limitations on me on account of the fact that you want a lifestyle unparalleled. You want everything, then it's going to cost you everything. How the hell is it you going to get everything and you ain't going to give up I give up a little bit me ass. Hey, baby, you an Instagram model, right? Yeah. Call up some of your damn girlfriends and tell them we having the freak off this weekend.
Boy, what in the hell's the matter with you?
It's supposed to be like that. Jason, you wildin'. Nigga, no, I'm not. I'm serious as hell. It's like, no. Why I got to go find some chicks? Ain't you one of them Instagram models? Yeah, y'all hoes get together. Yeah, get in your damn DMs and go call 2 or 3 of them other broads. Why do I have to go find anybody? You go call 2 or 3 of them. Go call 2 or 3 of them. You know plenty of other chicks out there. Y'all been getting flued out for years. Okay, go call a couple of them gals you got flued out with. And tell them it's going down Friday. It's going down on the Friday the 14th. That's where she living. It's like, okay, ma'am, you want to know what value you gonna bring to it here? Y'all ain't gonna like this next part. Okay, you need a real nigga to say this for you here. That's what Diddy had them hoes doing.
What?
Damn!
Damn!
Oh, man. Okay, in order for Cassie to be the bottom B, Cassie was sitting there selecting the broads. Cassie was sitting there with Diddy. Diddy didn't have to find nothing. Cassie was the one saying, okay, I'll take this chick over here. No, Diddy likes this kind over here. We're going to get this girl over here. Yeah, she can come. No, this other one here, you can sit down. Okay, let me see. She was the one like she was out grocery shopping at Whole Foods, not Whole Foods.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Cassie was sitting up there shopping for chicks for Diddy like she was at Whole Foods. Not Whole Foods, Whole Foods. She had a basket full of thoughts. Diddy just had to sit at home and wait for her to come back and show him the surprise. I found this one and I found this one over here and here's another one. Yeah. You gonna earn being in that Bentley. You got fellas out here tonight talking about buying chicks a $500,000 house and talking about buying her a BMW, and that chick won't give you a damn peck on the cheek. And that's why you get mad and salty and jealous of fellas who are like, yeah, I'm not going to sit up here and have crumbs like that. I'll be damned. Okay, in the chat room, she was as freaky as Diddy. I don't know if she actually was or wasn't. I know one damn thing. That was what was required. and he wasn't sneaking around about it. How the hell are you doing what Sean Combs has done, accomplished what he's done, and you have to sneak around? So this chick is getting outrageous benefits, but you have to sneak around and live the same life that these normal dudes are. Then what the hell was the point of becoming extraordinary if you're going to have the same normal limits? Oh, hell no. He walked right through the front door with it and told him, by the way, not only will you be watching, you'll be participating. And by the way, by participation, that means you're going to be organizing. Yeah, you going to be all the way in. See, this right here offends the little simp-ass mama's boy mind because, I'm going to go marry her and give her the life she wants. You guys are bad. You should give a woman everything and she should want for nothing. And so I go, okay, it's weak nigga like that.
Sit your ass down.
Yeah, nobody wants to be you, man. Nobody wants to be you because they see how weak that is. How the hell is it that you're a man doing extraordinary things? And by the way, extraordinary is relative. If you're doing things for her that ain't no man ever did in her damn life, you supposed to be getting benefits ain't no man ever got on account of the fact you've already upheld your end of the bargain. And it shouldn't be no damn fight. It shouldn't be a fight. If the men before you were that damn popping, why didn't her ass stay with them? Okay, if you at the top of the damn food chain, how the hell are you arguing, fighting, sneaking? Her job is to make your life easier, okay? If having another chick makes your life easier, she's supposed to be on that. Okay, if that's too much to ask for the fella who works at General Motors, if that's too much to ask for the fella who works at the racetrack, if that's too much to ask for the fella who drives a truck, if that's too much to ask for the fella who works at the warehouse, okay, then what does a man need to do or achieve that's no longer too much for him to ask? Because you told the guy at the warehouse that he would have to have Dak Prescott money to have that. Okay, Dak Prescott got it, and now you're going to tell him that, oh, he can't have it either? I need to say something tonight to the men to get your damn head screwed on straight. Power is not given. Power is taken.
And deal with it, nigga.
You do not ask for these things. You tell people this is the deal. You don't beg for it. And you tell her she can either ball out or bounce out. That's it. But how the hell did you do all this work? Your body is getting put through the ringer. You're suffering injuries. And then you're coming home. She's getting everything she ever dreamed of as a child, but you're not getting and you're the one providing it. She's not providing a damn thing except herself. You're the one providing everything she ever dreamt of as a child, and she's telling you what you can't have? So being with you means that there's nothing she can't have, and you will provide it. You'll do all the work and all the labor and all the toil to provide it. But being with her means being told what you cannot have, and you're the guy providing her life, and you're being told what you can't have. We have too many weak males out here today raised by single mothers.
Damn!
And the single mom, I've taught you all this going on 2 decades now. A single mother is never going to game her son up on having power over women because she became a single mom because dudes got over on her. So she raises you to be this weak little effeminate submissive man baby. And females are getting over on you for the rest of your damn life when you're supposed to be pulling power moves. If you want to have more than one female, why the hell can you not walk up to Miss Ramos and tell her, yeah, I'm not doing the exclusive thing. And if you're going to be with me, you got to be like Harley Quinn with the Joker.
And deal with it, nigga.
Oh, I said it. Why is he yelling it? Because ain't nobody else telling it. Baby, if you gonna be with me, you gonna have to be like Harley Quinn with the Joker. Whatever Joker wants, she's trying to predict it before he even asks. How the hell are you sitting where Dak Prescott is and the chick you with is like giving you the sentence you should never hear? I don't do that. Whoa, 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 whoa. So there's nothing about her life that you get to say, I don't do that. But she's telling you what you can't have and what she don't do. It's like, okay, get your ass out the way for a broad who will. You're standing in the way of all the other broads who will. And so as a result, Dak Prescott does not get to be the man he actually wants to be. He has to be this castrated, neutered version instead of being the fella he wants to be. This conversation should have been done with her years ago when he met her in 2024, I think it was, whenever he met her. That was the conversation they should have had right then, right there. He had gotten out of one relationship. How the hell is it you ain't got your pimp boots on for the next one and let her know walking in the door? Hey, before you even get don't sit down in that seat. Yeah, I know I'm the table and there's a chair at the table. Don't sit down yet. We need to find out if you qualify for that. So before you get comfortable in that seat, this is what sitting in that seat requires. It requires a whole lot to be there. We ain't giving out freebies. This ain't no damn lottery ticket. You have to earn the right to be there. If you want a lottery ticket, go find some simp working for the city, some retired military dude sitting at the BX. Go find somebody's grandpa sitting up here driving a convertible Camaro who will not admit that the damn ride is over. Go get with him. But for a fellow who's actually actively competing and producing, how the hell is it you got to sneak around? How in the world in the hell is it that in 2026 you have to sneak around? Let's just keep it real. That's the real reason a bunch of niggas is mad at Diddy. You just hating because you're like, damn, that nigga out there, he running through all of them. He ain't leaving none of the hoes first. And that's not his job to do that. That's not his job to do that. And by the way, it wasn't just Cassie. Remember, Cassie was not the first one, and she wasn't the last. Remember, Young Miami was doing it too.
What? Damn!
Young Miami was, after Cassie got the boot, there was another chick after that, and then there was Young Miami. All of them had the same job description. Diddy wasn't letting them just sit around and look cute. It's like, oh, no, baby. Hoes work here. You are going to be a, what's the phrase I gave y'all? Working kept woman. Oh, ain't no sit around kept women around here. You gonna be a working kept woman. Yeah, you will have a working soft life. That's what you gonna have. Your soft life is going to be a working one. You will not have an idle soft life. You're going to have a working one. And when you have that conversation walking in the damn door, things will go a hell of a whole lot easier. This is an embarrassment for Dak Prescott. This is embarrassing. This is humiliating. This is a disgrace. He's gotten to this point in life and he's got to sneak around like a 5-year-old outside of his bedtime. How much does a man need to do before he can actually be a man? Obviously, for Dak Prescott, when you're just missing it completely from your character, no amount is enough. But I'm just telling the fellas, before you watch yourself sit up here and get put in the damn trick bag, ask yourself a few questions about that. Okay, if that's not who you really are, shouldn't your goal be, well, let me work and produce the life I want to have so I can do that? And then once you've done that, don't let anybody tell you you haven't done enough to get that. If you have the capacity to take care of 5 women, how dare somebody tell you that you can only have one? And she says she wants to be your everything. It's like, okay, well, being my everything means also by the same, I might need you to go do some recruiting. That's what it means to be everything over here. And this is what these married men want. Because when they finally do get locked down, they realize that he's giving her a hell of a whole lot more than he's getting. And what she's giving him is not equivalent to what he's giving her. That's when they get mad and resentful and pouty. And then they want to go ahead and start, quote, exercising options. Too late, nigga. You gave it up. Now you want to be mad. Now you want to be in your feelings. Now you want to be resentful. Now you want to be sneaky. Now you want to be deceptive. And you know what the real reason for that is? The real reason for that is because you know the niggas she was with before, there was niggas she was with before, they were doing all of this. What? That's the thing that upsets you. You feel like you should do that because she gave you some details about where she was before. You was like, wait a minute, them niggas was kind of wilding out a little bit, wasn't they? I mean, baby, you were one of them Instagram models? Okay, that's a nice little term we give it. We know what an IG model is. Being an IG model doesn't mean you work for the Ford modeling agencies. We know what it means to be an IG model. OnlyFans and stripping. So, okay, well, I know what you was doing with dudes before you got here with me. And then you let her talk you into, oh, I'm a nice girl now. Don't you want a nice girl? Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I do. It's, okay, well, nice girls don't do that. So I'm done with my dirty phase. So now you have to make me a nice girl. You have to treat me like a nice girl now. You have to do that now. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, all right, nice girl. Let me buy this house and give you everything you want. Now, once you give up that first concession, that's it. She does nothing but put rules on you, and all those rules will be telling you what you can't have and what you can't get. But she's going to nag the hell out of you if she doesn't get what she wants. Okay, in the chat room, Prince, no. First of all, don't put stuff in caps. But second of all, you're putting it in caps and you're wrong. No, you don't tell a female you're not faithful because you're not being unfaithful. Being unfaithful means that you're lying.
Lie.
Fellas, come on now. Y'all need to start thinking these things through. This is critical and cognitive thinking. It's not being unfaithful unless you're lying. You are unfaithful when you are untruthful. You cannot be unfaithful if you're honest. So by definition, you're being faithful to her when you're with her. And you're not being unfaithful when you're not with her because she knows what she signed up for. Now, if you're lying to her, now you're being unfaithful. But you should never be lying. What fellas need to understand is I've just given you all the rules so that you don't have to lie anymore. And I'm not saying that I necessarily endorse any of those things, but what I am saying is that, dude, okay, I told you fellas how to gauge those things. Take a look at the last two fellas she was with. That's the benchmark, not Jay-Z, not Jeff Bezos. The last two fellas she was with. Okay, you don't have to outdo Jay-Z and Jeff Bezos. You just have to outperform the last two guys she was with. And that means you should get more than the last two guys she was with got on account of the fact you're doing more than they did. You're doing more than they did. Okay, if you're outperforming other people, then she should be outperforming what you get compared to them. This is common sense. Fellas are scared to say that because you've let the females in this gyno-Nazi culture sit up here and intimidate you into thinking that you can't make demands. Now, the women can make demands of you all over the damn place and tell you what you're going to sacrifice and give up and can't have. And then okay, let me work my ass off because happy wife, happy life, and let me make sure she's straight. Okay. And then you're sitting there mad and miserable and you're telling everybody you're happy when in reality you're a slave to lifestyle creep and lifestyle inflation. and yet you're not happy. Or you can only stand to be in your marriage if you got an OnlyFans account or if you can cheat on her. As opposed to saying, okay, baby, here's what it's going to be. At some point, we're going to park this BMW 7 Series over here. At some point, we'll see if we can get you a G-Wagon or something. But, yeah, I don't do exclusivity. And I don't do jealousy either. And, oh, yeah, by the way, every once in a while, you're going to have to organize. If you have a problem with any of those things, there's the damn door. If fellas did that from day one, this is having clear lines of communication that you are clearly telling her what it is you want. And at that point right there, she better tell you exactly what it is that she wants. Now that you both have agreed to what it's going to be, there won't be any arguments going forward. Now, the only thing that can happen is she is lying. If she lies to get in the door and agrees to do this, and then later is like, well, I didn't really want to do it. Heifer, you agreed to it. How you going to say you didn't want to do it? You begged to get up in here. I mean, I wanted this. Well, nobody else was offering it. Well, that's your bad. If you're not worth somebody else offering it. So, yeah, this was the best you could do. And I want to have a conversation about that right there because there's a mind game that's getting played on y'all about the best that she can do. The fellas are always seeing it from the perspective of you supposed to be lucky that she's letting you walk in the damn room. And I'm talking about they pulled a damn Sigmund Freud mind screw job on these dudes. Let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom right quick. I got Douglas up here on Zoom. It's Friday the 13th. All right, Douglas, what's on your mind?
Yes, good evening, Jason. An excellent broadcast as always. You mentioned something earlier that really got me thinking. So I wanted to see if I can get more clarity. You mentioned about the bride's family having to put up a bond. And if the bride or if the woman decides to initiate the divorce, that they can put that bond into place or implement that bond. As someone who has a daughter, I found it very interesting. I think it's feasible, but I want to ask a couple quick follow-up questions. So if the woman initiates the divorce, but she has a reason to, let's say domestic violence or a word that I know you don't like, unfaithfulness, assuming the man wasn't upfront in the beginning of the relationship. If something like that comes up, should that bond still be called, or how would you factor that in?
Okay, brother, let's try this a different way here. If you're self-employed, these questions don't come up. When you're self-employed and you get insurance, you don't want to be fighting with the insurance company over, did the other person have insurance? Did I know them? What's the liability? What kind of car they drive? Were there extenuating circumstances? Brother, you don't want that. There's not a one of you who pays for insurance and wants that scenario. When you pay for insurance, you want what? Full coverage. I don't give a damn what happens. I want to be covered. Period. So that is my response to that right there. If you owned a business, you would not want to be fighting with the insurance company over claims or terms or what is accepted or what's exempt. You would never want that. If you had health insurance at your job, you don't want to hear about no damn pre-existing condition. You don't want to have them sitting up here going over your medical record with a fine-tooth comb. Oh, wait a minute, we found this from 10 years ago now. Hold on now. You're like, wait a damn minute. I've been paying my premiums. Break my bread. So that's my response to that, brother.
And last thing, and I'll let you move on. You went over a lot of things tonight. What advice would you, in summary, what should Dak have done? Like, should he have tried to pick a different woman? Did he choose wrong? Was he too premature? Like, it's easy to analyze after the fact what was wrong, but what should he have done from the beginning? Or what could he have done differently to avoid this situation?
Brother, we're not analyzing after the fact. How many different times have we seen Dak Prescott? How many different Dak Prescotts have we seen now? It's the same damn thing in professional sports, year after year, decade after decade. We've seen this a million times now. So there are no mysteries here. We already know what's going on. If he doesn't want to be exclusive, I'm just saying something that you all never thought to ask before. Instead of blaming the athletes, you shouldn't have been cheating on her. I'm like, yes, Dak, and cheating on her doesn't mean that you have only one female. Dak, why can't you just be honest and tell her, yeah, the single chick thing is not for me? Why is it you can't just say that? Well, she ain't gonna roll with it. First of all, did you tell her this? Or are you just scared and frightened and just assuming? Because when women demand, quote unquote, exclusivity from us, men always misinterpret what that really means. When women say exclusivity, what they're really getting at is they want to have security of your resources. That's what she means. Fellas are scared to death to challenge that and say, okay, well, let me just make sure we're very clearly defining this. And then you sit up here and tell her, yeah, I'm not going to do that because that's not worth it for me. Having one female saying, yeah, that's not for what I do and what I produce and provide, that's not worth it. One female is not enough compensation for me. And so fellas psych themselves out and don't say that. Meanwhile, they sitting up here giving Diddy the evil eye because he walks in the door with everybody knowing, yeah, you'll never be the only one. And the same chick sitting up here telling you no was sitting at the freak off hoping that the video never comes out. So what's the difference? One of you stood on it and the other one was scared. In reality, when females say that mess, they're really just trying to get as much leverage on you because women understand one thing. You can insist on what you got when you walked in the door. You will never have a stronger bargaining position than you had when you walked in the door. Your bargaining position does not get stronger with time, it gets weaker as they get to know you better. Unless, of course, you're appreciating in value. This does not happen for females. This can happen for males, but your bargaining position is never going to get higher. So she knows walking in the door, jam you for as much as restrict you as much as she can walking in the door. Because she knows she's not going to have more ability to do that in 2 years. Especially if you get her pregnant and get her married. So Dak made every mistake in the book. He made every mistake imaginable. Starting with the fact that he wasn't honest with himself. Dak, if you know you want more than one chick, why can we not have that conversation with her? Why are we not having this from the get-go? She's on IG, my goodness. And he let himself get intimidated or whatever the case may be. Or maybe she was a problem. Okay, the bottom line was you are not willing to be a one-woman man. That's obviously not who you are. The circumstances that made you act on it don't matter. You don't want to be a one-woman man. Okay, let's have that conversation. And from here on in, anybody who wants to deal with you, that has to be a requirement. He doesn't want to say that, and a lot of fellas don't say that. I don't want to be told that. What my mama think? Okay, well, fine. But everything he did was a mistake, starting with lying. So that's why tonight's program, the thumbnail says all lies. It's all lies. It's all lies. He lied to himself, and now he's lied to everybody else. He lied to her about what he was willing to accept and what he was willing to give up. He lied about that. And once he was actually required to do it, then he's like, oh, I don't really want to do that. So now he's screwed up in the game, and there's an international laughing stock, and everybody's talking about him. And yeah, and Stephon Diggs is out there somewhere saying, yeah, go on, brother, good. Get me off these front pages. Stephon Diggs is out there somewhere saying, damn, Dak, keep it. But you came in clutch right then, buddy. Between you and Trump and Iran. Oh, man. Y'all got me off them front pages. I sure do appreciate it. Because folks is looking forward to my trial date. So I'm sure glad you got that knocked off the front page. And that's where he is. So, brother, everything you said, those were all mistakes. They were all unforced errors. He could have just kept it as simple as, A. Because he's like, what, 32 now or something? He's in his 30s. Okay, you know better now. Every chick you talk to, it should be like, hey, it is what it is. You can ball or bounce. You're scared to do that? Okay, this is not a matter of money. This is a matter of manhood. Simple as that.
He's definitely in a better position than Russell Wilson is, but I guess that's a debate for another day.
I don't think this is a better position, quite frankly. She's got the kid. You think I'm going to say this again to you all. Do you think that Miss Ramos is going to go away? Do you all think that after this, she's going to go away? Is that what you all think is going to happen? Do you all think she's going to take it easy on him? According to folks, she was yelling and screaming at him on the damn boat. You all think she's about to go away? Is that what you all think is going to happen? Did them hoes go away with Stephon Diggs? So, I don't know what y'all are thinking, but you think she's getting ready to go away? You take a look at all these chicks who got engaged, these NFL athletes and whatnot. It's never easy. It's always messy. She's going to be back. She's going to be back, and she's going to be spilling all the beans on him. What's she doing right now? She's going right now to go get back all the text messages and all the evidence she needs to go smear him. That's what Sarah Ramos is doing tonight, in case you all didn't know. She's getting all the receipts she can find, all the text messages that she can retrieve. She's doing everything she can to get as much documentation as she can, and eventually she's going to start talking trash about him and smearing him. That's what she's going to do. Because right now, up until now, she was looking forward to marriage, in which case child support's not a requirement. Now she is gearing up for the child support fight. Now, do you think that she's going to send him a reasonable request, or do you think that she is going to go and try to find the most vicious, bloodthirsty, demented female, feminist, black man hating attorney that she can find? Now, what do you think's about to happen? Because she just gave up all her damn leverage in Latino land.
Damn!
Okay. Do you think she gets to go back to the white Latinos with Dak Prescott's baby? You think that's the way that's going to work? Okay, she gave up the whole damn farm. So if she has to do that, you think she's about to go away nicely and quietly and civilly? You think that's on the menu? Okay, I guess we're going to find out, although based on literally everything else I've seen, that's not the way these things go. Because she feels humiliated now. And she doesn't have the leverage anymore. So now, as Tyrese says, she's going to have to see if she can try to figure out how to convert child support to alimony. Which means you're going to have to go get a vicious lawyer to go drag him. And here we go. So if y'all didn't think it could get that bad, take a look at Tyrese. If you think they'll take it easy on you. Oh, it won't be that bad. Okay, ask Tyrese how that went and how it's still going. So, yes, if they really want to do that, they'll have a lawyer say some crazy. Remember with Brittany Renner, the only reason that went south was because geographically where they were, it was very obvious she was gaming the system. Okay, but beyond that, she couldn't pay the attorneys. That was the only thing that shut that down. In this case right here, that won't be an issue. So, nah, bruh. Based on past events, we have not seen the last of Ms. Ramos. We have not heard the last of her. And when we hear from her again, she will have a lawyer with her telling him what the child support will be. And it'll be some ungodly number. And yeah.
It's going to be bad for Dak's image, but that's going to be the least of his problems.
No, I actually predict he's going to do it again. What? He's going to do it again. He's going to try to redeem himself. He's got limited intellectual tools. Simps don't ever think like that. So they think that in a simp's mind, the answer to every problem is a woman. So he's going to go back and try it again. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, he's going to go back and try it again. He'll give it another shot. He'll see if he can make that work. In a simp's mind, the answer to everything is a woman. In a simp's mind, the solution to all his problems is another female. So if I can just get another female, everything will be all right. I want to remind you all about something here right now. I posted on my Instagram a story about this because I see things and whatnot, and I just take it as an opportunity to try to address fallacies that I see or give my own perspective on it. And you have right now you basically have, the trick simp era with a bunch of dumb, delusional, brain dead idiot males posting memes where basically everything's about buying chicks off and give her everything she wanted and all this old kind of silliness with no validation or verification whatsoever. There's one guy who's like, what's that I posted about talking about, she stood by you when you were driving a Honda. So now she's in the Lamborghini. It's like, what kind of baseline standards is this? I just made the comment that actually that's not true. In reality, she should be grateful that you stood by her when the best she could get was a dude driving a Honda.
And deal with it, nigga.
No, you should not be grateful for her that she stood by you when you were driving a Honda. She should be grateful that a dude who would eventually be able to get a Lamborghini stood by her when all she could get was a guy driving a Honda. And she should be grateful. So when you sit up here and let people screw things up and everything, all the terms of the narratives and all the frames of the discussions are from the frame of you as the male should be grateful to the gyno-Nazi order. It's like, no, don't let people sit up here and screw that mess up for you. No, if you're the guy who can buy the Lamborghini, she's supposed to be grateful for literally everything, that she did you a favor literally by just standing there. She stood by you. Wait a minute, stood by me? How much work did you do? Damn, standing by me. Was you working with me? She put in no effort. Well, I'm standing right here. I'm providing moral support. Damn moral support. Pick up a shovel, heifer. You're the only one doing the work, and they have screwed you up and brainwashed you into thinking that the only thing a female is supposed to do is, quote, stand there. Hell no, she's supposed to be sitting over there and working and sweating and toiling, I'll be damned. And got you thinking that your job is to work your ass off and make sure she's thrilled with everything. And even when you built everything, well, you should be grateful that she stood by while you were building. And there are a whole bunch of folks who were standing by. Yeah, but she's special. Okay. Folks out here get messed up and played, so I want the fellas to keep that in mind. Do not sit up here and be deceived and let people sit up here and have you couching the terms of the conversation from the perspective that you should just always be grateful when you're doing all the work. So that's why I corrected that right there. It's, no, you ain't supposed to be grateful to her by standing by you. She should be grateful that a fellow who could one day buy a Lamborghini let her sit there while he had a Honda. Baby, if you could have leapfrogged straight to the Lambo, you would have done it. If you could have actually gotten the fellow with the Lambo on the first try, you would have done it. So let's be very clear about who should be grateful around here. Got dudes who are so desperate for sexual access. Will she show up the next day? As long as she'll be there. And then she starts bidding the price up. And next thing you know, you're paying 10 times what that nigga who got her pregnant did. Speaking of old niggas here, let me jump over here on Zoom right quick. We got Prince on the Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, brother, I want to ask you a question. You make some legitimate points tonight. Well, my question to you is, let's say the woman is not a side piece. She's a woman that one of these high-level producers is going to marry. Let's say the parents willing to pay for the wedding. Should that be something that's disclosed if they're going to be having a relationship where he's going to be having other women on the side? I'm not saying he bringing the women around like
and then here we go. So all these fellas with daughters are calling me up tonight.
What? Damn!
And then like, Jason, what is you advocating for? Hey, bro, I got to stand on it, though. I got to stand on this. So what I am saying is that if your daughter comes home with Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or whatever the case may be, that's their relationship. That's not yours. Mm-hmm. That's your daughter. Yeah, but that's her relationship. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. So Prince, you and me know what the old folks told us. Okay. That don't just go backwards. That go forward. But I want to ask you, if your daughter was able to bag Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or whatever the case may be, that's her relationship, not yours. There's a whole bunch of stuff they doing behind closed doors that you really don't even want to know about because it'll scar your psyche. So the bottom line is, start from that standpoint. This is her relationship, not yours. So as far as whatever terms there is, if that's what it takes for him to be comfortable marrying your daughter, because you talking about the wedding, we're talking about him being her protector and provider for the rest of her life. If he says these are the terms that make him comfortable for that, these are the terms.
Respect not. Here's the thing. Let me ask you this here. Because I can live with that. But if they're in that type of relationship and they're married, should people just, if they see him talking to another woman, which he should be on his bit of property, should they just mind their business?
Yeah. Yeah. Really. Now, once again, I don't want to open this up to some of the things that some other folks talk about, because you know how I feel about multiple households. A man should not be having children with multiple women, because you cannot be the head of household in multiple households. It does not work that way. However, just on the discussion of non-exclusivity, and I am not saying that I would do this myself or endorse it. What I am saying is that if that's going to be the way you're going to do it, you should not be sneaking around about it. The only reason that it would be an issue, because they wouldn't come talk to you, they want to come talk to her. The only reason that folks would think that'd be an issue is if they think they can have one up on her for that.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be coming to you about it. They'll be coming to her thinking they're going to flex on her, intimidate her, try to regulate on her or something. That's what that would be. So the real thing isn't about whether or not you know or whether or not they know. The only issue is whether or not she knows. If she is aware, it's not going to be an issue.
She going to handle it, of course.
Yeah, she's going to handle it by not saying anything, and eventually somebody's going to say something, and the one who says something, that's the problem child right there, not him and not her. Whoever it is who comes back to her with that, now she'll know that's the problem. But the other thing is, like I say, it's just coming out the gate. As a man, it should be known how you handle your business in that regard, and it shouldn't be getting around like that in the first place. So it's just, if you're going to be doing things like that, you got to understand, if you have more than one female, it's not good for you to be sitting up here having multiple stuff going on where it's high profile. So that should be low profile to begin with. They should have a place in your life, and there should be a specific function or place for that. You shouldn't have a situation where you're trying to juggle people all at the same level, because there's no way in the world that works. There just isn't. There just isn't.
Now, Jason, you were saying something about, I have to be honest with you. I didn't think of that. And I think of a lot of things when you talk about the insurance on marriage. Man, that is a genius idea. Now, if that's not able to fly, what about the woman putting down a deposit? Huh?
I mean, here's the issue. Putting down a deposit is not going to make up for it after 2 or 3 years.
No.
I mean, the average female today is carrying a bunch of consumer debt, credit card debt. If she's lucky, she has a subprime mortgage. But women ain't really holding no money for deposits like that. They put down 3% on a car. So they're not really doing anything. So the deposit idea is DOA, because the women, what is the average wealth for a black female? All right, what's the average wealth for a Latina female? All right, now what's the average wealth for even a white female? Anglo-white female. So, and that wealth came from whom? Like, we're not even talking about savings. She counting what she actually is getting aggregate off of the man she with. So for the females, a deposit's not going to work. That basically that would float you for what, maybe a year, and that's going to be about it.
Okay, that'll be about it. So when it comes to it, my brother, and I wonder why these guys are so inept and just being straight up about what it is from the jump street. If you got these resources, they're just game goofy. They raised by their single mothers, and their mother. I wonder sometimes if their mothers wanted to be with just one woman so they can get some of the money too. The
mothers don't have a game plan. Mama doesn't have a game plan. She doesn't have a strategy. She's not teaching him to be solid. She hasn't had a talk with him. She knows this is what he like, and she just wants the chick to figure it out. Well, she'll figure it out when it's there. It's like, okay, but if you're a dirty, backsliding hood rat hoe, your son's going to be a little smarmy, lying, deceiving little hood rat hoe nigga himself. So there's the hump that needs to be gotten over. If he's been raised by a slutty female, he's going to use slutty female tactics. That includes lying, deceiving. So he can't be a stand-up dude because he wasn't raised by a stand-up dude. If by some chance he was raised by some stand-up people, maybe it'll be different. But the bottom line is you can't look for that kind of teaching from a woman, because it takes men to let a male know there will be consequences for your actions. That's the first thing that we teach other males when they're young. The women teach them to nurture them and coddle them. As men, the first thing we let little boys know is there are consequences for your actions.
Real quick.
Because you will have responsibilities that she will not have. As evidenced by the fact that you're going to be taking care of the household, even if it's 3 or 4 chicks. Well, you will be providing for 3 or 4 of them. The 3 or 4 of them will not be providing for you.
No.
Or if your woman got 3 or 4 dudes, she's not going to be providing for any of them.
No.
So as a man, if you have more than one female, well, you can do that. You're going to be providing for more than one. A female cannot do that. She's not going to be taking care of other men. She'll have the 4 of them living in her house, but she will not have 4 of them in 4 separate houses that she's taking care of and paying for. She would never even try to do it. All them chicks in the WNBA. Ain't that okay? Y'all want a sports equivalent. You've got female sports leagues. Them chicks in the WNBA, not a one of them is trying to figure out how they can support 2 or 3 men. Not even one. Hell, they're not trying to figure out how they can support 2 or 3 women.
Not even one.
And they like girls. That's them girls who like them girls over there. And they're not trying to figure out how to support 2 or 3 women. So as a man, you will have responsibilities and expectations on you that females will not. Thus, there will be consequences for your actions. So if that's going to be the case, there needs to be a reward for when you get things right also. And a female cannot dictate to you what that is. So he's not a stand-up dude. You're not raised around stand-up women. There is no protocol in place. Everything is about sexual access, not an actual plan or structure. Having a bunch of resources doesn't mean you have a bunch of character. I can keep going for a while here. So it's basically we've got multiple flaws on multiple dimensions.
I want to ask you a question, the brother, about the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. I have a lot of respect for him in some ways, you know, but I want to ask you, dealing with the fact, you know, at one point he did have as reported he had an outside child. Why didn't that break him? Why didn't that break his reputation for who he was? Because at his funeral, his son had a lot of respect for his father. So what do you see he was just such a icon that it's too hard to break like that? Or what do you think it was? The way he...
Well, no, I mean, look, if that had come out in 1975 or 1985 or even 1995, that might have been different. Back when that was relevant. Brother, he was out of politics and all that. He didn't even have his television show anymore. So this was after all those things had been done. At that point right there, he wasn't a high profile figure for those things anymore. Okay. So it wasn't a detriment because that period had passed. So this would be like, you know, Jerry Falwell or Jimmy Swaggart or whatever if they were no longer preaching. And then you find out about these side chicks. Well, okay, as long as they're in the pulpit, this is going to be a problem. But Jesse wasn't there anymore. So, I mean, he wasn't a regular pastor like that anyway. But no, if he was running for president, this would have been disastrous, you know, if that had been the case. But this was long after that. So he had basically, you know, he had basically receded from public life in that way. He receded from it, and that's it.
The early 2000s. Jason, let me ask you, is there any time or situation that you can put these women under one roof? Sister wives or something like that. I ain't talking about...
Yeah, now, in my opinion, this is where silliness sets in. This is where silliness and stupidity sets in. As far as I'm concerned, that's the resort of the bummy, crusty, and weak, because what you think you're doing is setting up a harem, and it's really just clown time. It really, really just is. Maybe you could have 2 of them. You're not going to have 3 or 4. Females are catty by nature. Females are competitive by nature. I do not give a damn how well you think you are, quote unquote, taking care of anything. They've got too much proximity. If they're under your roof, they have access to all the information. If you buy one of them a Chanel bag and you buy the other one a Prada, it's going to be problems because she's going to know. If you took one out to eat 5 times this year and took the other one out 12 times this year, it will be a problem. They will have no choice but to start comparing how they're being treated. And you can't hide it because she's sitting right there. If one of them starts becoming abusive about how they do things, for example, let's just say the chick, I'm just giving this to you as an example. You got one chick, she's taking care of business. It doesn't cost you much of anything. You got another chick, every year we look up and we got to get her a new iPhone.
Yes.
First she says she wants one. Then you're like, okay, we got to cut back on that. Next thing you know, oh, I broke my iPhone. I broke it. I need a new one. I tore my handbag. I need a new one. My shoes got messed up. I need a new one now. You think about that for a few moments. So you're like, okay, well, let me go take care of that so I can keep peace around here. And the other chick who isn't running up your bills like that is seeing that occur. How is that going to strike her? Because you can have multiple females, but duplication of levels of maturity and whatnot, I mean, that's a pipe dream. So it's very unlikely that they're all going to be equal in that regard. It's very, very unlikely. And you don't have any ability to hide anything, conceal anything, keep them from being all over your business and stuff. They've got too much access to too much. They live there with you. That's bad enough when you got one. It's absolutely going to be unmanageable if you have more than one. So you need to have distance. You need to have distance. They don't need to have ready access to you all the time. That's a security breach. You are not going to be able to maintain that. I'll let you have the last word.
So I'm assuming it's better to put them in a separate place, their own apartment, or not in separate properties that you own, because given technology, you know, people can find that. So
that singer Neo is an idiot. Nick Cannon's not even smarter. Neo's running around calling folks his wives, and I'm like, dude, this is dumb as hell. You're literally publicly claiming they're your wives. So if they take you to court under common law status, you have no leg to stand on to say they're not. You spent years saying that they were. So your publishing, recordings, and everything else, these women basically will have rights, even if they don't have any children with you. So fellas are so desperate to have regular sexual access, they start extending things they shouldn't be. They start giving away the farm, and they shouldn't be. So ideally, if you're going to do that, yeah, they need to have a function somewhere else. They do not need to be on premises. Being on premises is supposed to be a privilege. If you want sexual access, that shouldn't require them to be there. Not all the time. So depending on how you go with that, yeah, that should not require that. Plus, if they live with you, think about that for a few moments. We have 3 tenants now. We have 3 residents.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, you already know how this is going to go. So if you have a falling out, what do we do with 3 residents? One of them is a problem. Well, they all got rights. So as far as I'm concerned, first of all, a chick should at least have a place of her own, and you have the leverage, you have the leeway. If you want to invite her over, you can. What she's got ain't got to be extravagant. You can take care of extravagant, but you need to have control of that interaction. You don't turn over control to them. And when you've got more than one female, there will be competition. There will be cattiness. It's going to happen. They'll sit there and no female considers herself to be subordinate or number 2 to another female.
And deal with it, nigga.
So you cannot have multiple females in one house and think they all see themselves as the same. And in men's minds, they're hoping and praying that that's the way the women will see themselves because that'll make life easier for you. Well, that's not the way that works. No female considers herself to be another female's subordinate, nor does she consider herself to be another female's equal. She feels like even if you chose her among other females, there's something special about her. Even though there's 3 or 4 other chicks sitting right next to her, she thinks there's something special about her. And at some point, she's going to start insisting on it. And when you don't confirm that to her satisfaction, here come the problems. She'll either go after them or she'll go at you or all the above, or she'll start attacking the program. So having control of that, I think, is more important than anything else. So they need to have their own place to be in. They need to have that and as a baseline. And anything that you contribute beyond that, that's where you come in. The baseline stuff she take care of, but anything beyond that, you do that. And that's something manageable that you could maintain literally for the rest of their lives.
Let me ask you one last question, Jason. Is something in a woman's psyche that no amount of money will ever satisfy her? She always wants more. Like when the sister was with that billionaire, Mariah Carey, he said he couldn't afford her. maybe I don't know what he actually meant by that, but is it if they feel you got it, women want to spend it, or that gives them some type of security knowing that they're able to access the funds or get you to use the funds? What's the thing there? Why they always want more? Is that always the case?
Okay, when you are a man who has desirable character traits, personality, social skills, intelligence, intellect, ambition, drive, those are things you have separate from money. Money is a side effect of that.
Yeah.
Money is the result of those character traits. When you have those character traits, the money is a value add.
Yes.
All that does is enhance the value that's already there. When you don't have those things, you need money. Now, you got to have money when you don't have character and personality traits because you don't have anything else. And that's what most males are trying to do because that's a very linear thing. Okay, I don't need the personality to make this very simple for me. If I got money, okay, she doesn't love me, love the money. Okay, fine, I'll take it. The billionaire dude, he didn't have a personality to begin with. The only thing he could bargain with was his money.
Jeff Bezos.
But Mariah Carey did not desire him. She desired status. And so, okay, well, hey, I got a billionaire over here, even if he's a wet blanket. And he didn't really like her like that. And she didn't really like him like that. These two are just together because it's a really weird little relationship y'all got. And the bottom line is that he didn't have any character traits that she could desire outside of the money. So he's completely reliant on the money that he has. If he didn't have the money, he wouldn't even have a dog around him. That's the problem. So in their type of relationship there, you should not confuse the fact that this is a guy who didn't have character traits to begin with. Bill Gates is a smart man. He's an intelligent man. He's not really somebody that you'd want to be around if he wasn't the richest person in the world. You can talk shop with him. You can learn technology with him. He's not really somebody that you would want to interact with on a daily basis. He's not somebody that you would talk about what you learned from him that wasn't directly connected to income and status. He's not somebody that you admire as a man. You might admire him as a tech mogul, but not as a person.
Do you know a billionaire that you respect like that has some swag?
I can't think of a single billionaire off the top of my head. There might be somebody who's incidentally got that, but the people that I most admire, and for you too, it doesn't have anything. Their income is ancillary. We know they got it, but that's not why we admire them. It's cool they got it, but that's not what you admire about them. So Mariah Carey did not admire that guy. Okay. And that's the component that's missing. When you don't have character traits that a woman or other people can admire, you have to depend on money.
Exactly.
Okay, well, can y'all just love me for the money? All right, but just understand, nobody's here for you. They're only there for the money. And most males have to settle for that. And they got to just keep working their asses off because they know the second I don't have it, they're gone.
Gone.
And I'm just by myself. And in reality, what ends up happening is they just have a bunch of shallow people around them. That's the other thing I've noticed. I've met so many celebrities, and I can name literally on one hand the number of them that didn't have a bunch of glad-handing groupies and sycophants around them looking for what they could get. I can name on one hand. The overwhelming majority of them, they have just this non-stop circle of vultures around them everywhere they go, seeing what they can get, trying to carve off something that's literally it. Personality is not in strong supply. And that's the great peril of working on acquiring money before you acquire character.
Wow.
It's like, okay, what do I have that they can buy into that has zero, nada, nothing to do with money at all? That you're here just for me. And make sure that that's all you're going to get. All you're going to get is me. You don't get anything else beyond that. All you get is that. Now, do you still want to come? And most males know, yeah, don't do that. Because if there's no benefits in it, they don't want to just be there with you. They don't.
But you teach them stuff like gramping when they, you have all these different things. You're not just taking them somewhere to see a view. You actually take them to do stuff that they never done and learn. And I like that, Jason. The
most powerful men that you meet there, the most who contribute the most to your life, the real thing about status and ability there, what makes a man special is not that he opened doors. I told you about this before. It's not that the man opened doors. It is his ability to bring you in the room and get you to open doors you never could have without him.
Real tough.
Now, that's where a man's value comes from. Not just spending money. Because my whole thing is, you all know some of the folk I met, just some of them. Well, yeah, but that's not about money. That really, really isn't. I mean, it takes money to do certain things, don't get me wrong. You don't get to go in those circles and be broke. That's not the way that works, because that's the first sign that you have nothing to offer and all you can do is come there and parasite. So they make sure to keep those folk away from them. But beyond that, you have to have something to offer as a person. You have to be somebody to speak to, because those folks will let you know real quick if you're boring, there's not very much to you. They'll let you know real quick about that. So working on your character traits and being somebody that people would want to admire and would want to spend time around, that's all very important. When I talk to those people, I talk to them about their accomplishments. I talk to them about what I like about what they did and what its value was to me. I don't ever fanboy or fangirl. It's never, oh, I really like this album, or oh, I really like this movie, or oh, I really like this. I don't do that. Never. So never be a fanboy or a fangirl. But once again, I can say those words, but if you're a fanboy or a fangirl, you'll never be able to do it. So when you admire people, the money, you just see that as a side effect. Can you be interested in them and deal with them and there's no money involved? None. You're there because you want to be there. That's cool when you can do that.
Do they seek you out, or do you seek them out, or you just end up running in certain circles when you're dealing with these people on these higher levels?
Both.
Both.
If you've done things, you've accomplished things, you made things happen, folk notice. People see that. It's their job to see it. And especially if your name keeps coming up, but more importantly, if other people are bringing up your name. If you're the person name dropping yourself, you get forgotten. If other people are name dropping you, you're going to get noticed. From there, it's really only a matter of whether or not they want to continue that, because they've got all kinds of people pulling at their attention. They got all kinds of folks who want to be seen by them, all kinds of folks who are looking to get something. So really, the biggest thing they look for is people not running up on them. That's the big thing. If they want something from you, they're gonna say something. Now, if you reach out to them, there better be an agenda. It needs to be very, very clear, very concrete, no bull crap going on. Get right to the point, because you're not wasting their time. Okay. But beyond that, no, it's one way or the other. It'll be one way or the other. And if they want something, they'll get in touch with you.
And if they reach out to you and you don't know why they're coming to you, is that you have to move on the fly?
No, that never happens. If they reach out to you, you know exactly why they're there.
Okay, you right.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Yeah, if they reach out to you, you know exactly why they're there. And if you don't, they're going to tell you within the first minute. So that's one thing. They don't want ambiguity. They do not want ambiguity. They get straight to it. If they liked your film, if they liked your song, if they liked your post, if they liked, what they heard you say, if they liked your program, they say that from the beginning. Hey, I really like that. If they show some of the program, it's like, right on. They get straight to it. And I like that. When you got folks who are dealing with real money, real status, their time is valuable. They don't bull jive around. They really don't. Okay, let me go ahead and do this. Oh, no, not that one. No, we ain't gonna get in the darkest of the arts yet, but I got the cauldron. Got the cauldron bubbling. Now I'm very glad that Prince said that, because that reminds me of something. When you deal with celebrities and folk like that right there, if whatever you're into, they want you to just get to the point. You ain't got to be all coy about it. If you are sexually interested in them, they want you to get to the point. If they have allowed you in their presence, then you've already been approved. So if you want to get down, they don't want you bull jiving about it. It's like, hey, we're on too high a level for that. So all they see that is you being sneaky. If you're in their company and that's what you want, they want you to get to it. If that's what you came for, if that's what you're interested in, okay, just say that. Don't say you want to take me to Disney World. Don't say you want to go on a date. If you think I'm sexy and fly and you really trying to figure out, hey, what I got to do to make that happen, get to that. Or at least make it very clear that if you just so happen to slip on a banana peel and fall naked in bed with them, that wouldn't be the worst thing to happen this week. But by the way, in these celebrity circles and stuff, y'all, they're very direct. They are direct and they want you to get to the point. They don't want a bunch of beating around the bush. They don't want a bunch of code speak. If you're feeling them, say that. Now, that does not mean they're going to say yes, but that's not the way they operate. Why do you think the freak-offs had all them celebrities there? Because that's the way they do. For example, when they say, where's the party? There's a reason that a nigga like me can't really go to those parties. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. So I'm a cool cat to hang out with to an extent. But they all know that, yeah, I'm not going to do any drugs. I'm not going to puff any weed. I'm not going to drink. I'm not even going to drink any alcohol. So to a certain extent, I don't want to say I'm a killjoy, but it's just like, okay, the vibe is, in certain circumstances, the vibe could be a little off. And I'm fine with that because I'm not trying to be in a room with any drugs anyway. I'm perfectly fine missing that one. I have no problem being the sober driver who takes them home to make sure they don't get themselves killed in an accident, because that's been something that's happened. But folks, I'm just letting y'all know, when you meet them kind of people there, they want to get right to the point, which is why I know Dak Prescott, once again, you done screwed up and messed up. You take a look at Cardi B. What did she say? That was the way it was with Stefan. Hey, is we doing this or is we not? Okay. And then got right to it. Hey, we ain't bull jobbing, beating around the bush. What's up? What's going on? I'm not here to waste no time. If I got an entryway, let me know. If I got a lane, let me know I got a lane. If I got one, hey, I ain't bull jobbing. Let's get up out of here. And it's like that. It's like that. That's what it's like. It really just gets straight to the damn point. It really just goes right there. So if you've traveled in those circles and dealt with those people and met them and whatnot, that's the way that goes down. And Dak knows that. Dak knows this. He knows that, by the way, hey, bruh, in the world you in, folks don't beat around the bush. If this is what you want, you just come out with it. You're up front with it. What the hell are you doing? Like, if you want to do business or something, it's like, okay, make sure you're not broke when you get there. If you heard the chick is single, okay, you go ahead and do that. That's the way that works. So Dak violated on so many different levels. Violated on so many different levels. So many of them. Getting that much wrong. But by the way, for those of you, if you ever do end up in those kind of circles and dealing with those folk, just a word to you, get to the point. Don't be all nervous. Don't be all tongue-tied. Get to the damn point. You don't have to be crass or anything like that. But when you hear about these rappers and stuff and you can't figure out how it is they didn't just get immediately bounced out the damn room, that's because what they say, hey, shawty, what your name is? Hey, how'd you end up here? Damn, you wearing the hell out that dress. Hey, you got some cocaine? What? Who got the pink? Damn. Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, there's a reason I don't really, I know where to go. I know where not to go. There's a reason I don't end up in certain places, because if I'm not going to contribute to it, if I'm going to do anything, I don't want to be remembered as bringing it down. I don't want to be remembered as bringing it down. Okay. All right, somebody was texting me here. Might have him here. Oh, there he is. Let me go ahead and get over here on Zoom right quick. Hi, Mike. Is that you?
You already know it's me, baby.
All right, dude. Well, you should know we're talking about the NFL tonight, brother. What's on your mind?
Look, I told you whenever you talk about the NFL, I'm going to try to jump on, man. And I missed the last one. But, dude, I just got in, I just saw that you were broadcasting. And the thing I heard you say was you got to be upfront about these things. So I'm just going to speak on the whole joint the best I can without repeating or speaking sophomorically. Whenever you are in a position, right, to where you have something you can lose, you have to be upfront with these females. Like, I give you an example. When I met my wife, right, in college, I met her. She's in grad school because all the undergrad females, they just didn't do it for me. And I needed somebody that could help me elevate what I already had going on. You know what I'm saying? I needed a steady income of food and booty. All right. And I got what I needed. Everything worked out. We've been together over 15 years now. So I let her know off the rip. Yo, babe, I'm serious about this football thing. I'm still an undergrad. She's in grad school getting her master's. I'm like, I'm serious about this football thing. Okay? Don't get in the way of this because you will be replaced. There's too many of y'all for me to lose this behind any of y'all. I'm talking about females here, right? And the good thing was all the women in my camp, my mom, my sisters, my aunts, my friends, significant others, they were all on board. There was no sisterhood of failure with them. They were on board with, yo, he's on the path. Don't mess it up. And it was so interesting because she was 25 or about to be 25. And she said to me, wow, this is the first time I was made to feel like I could potentially be the problem in a relationship. And there goes the everything that's wrong with the sisterhood wrapped up in a nutshell right there. You don't live a quarter century and being master's program in college and fix your lips to say, I have never been made to feel like I could have been potentially the problem in a relationship. And it's not her fault all the way, because at some point you got to figure things out. But it's definitely the fault of, those who've been around her prior to me. So why am I saying that? I'm saying it to say this. There was times early on in our dating, and y'all know me, I ramble, I speak, I got a lot to say. There were times early in our dating when I would say, yo, I have a weightlifting session at 6 a.m. I have to get up at 5 a.m. to make sure I'm leaving here at 5:20 to get to the facility at 5:40 to be on the field at 5:50 because we actually start at 5:55. And at first she thought I was kidding until I turned off the movie, turned off the lights, and said, I'm going to sleep. If you cannot go to sleep too, you're welcome to leave. Now, with that being said, she transformed from being somebody who feels the world revolves around her to being a mother who gets all of our kids up and makes sure that they are prompt and on time and giving the boys the same values that she saw exhibited through me. And the one value is, if that female does not add to what you have going on, she's simply wasting your time. And there ain't that much fun to be had out here if you have a goal.
She didn't come to try to be bigger than the program.
She joined and enhanced the program.
Big difference
Why?
between what we
Because
see.
once again, peace of mind. Peace of mind. And I'm glad I met her before I was even a starter in college. Okay? So with this situation, you shouldn't get to the point to where prenuptials are being discussed, and I'm speaking in general, not so much about that, where prenuptials are being discussed and it's like you just told somebody that Santa Claus doesn't exist, who believed in Santa. It should be something that was already known and discussed. Because had I met her, let's just say into my second contract, I would let it be known, hey, prenuptials have to be signed because, like Rick Ross said, you was not shooting with me in the gym. I can say my wife was shooting with me in the gym. I'd come home from a game when all her friends are calling her to go out and hang out at the bars in downtown College Town. She said, no, I'm going to stay home and rub his feet. He had a tough game. I'll see you girls another time. And I'm going to let that hang for a second because a lot of you young men, a lot of you guys with young brothers, a lot of you ladies with sons, and a lot of young ladies need to hear. You want to be the wife of a high earner, of a producer. You need to show that you aren't above the program. You are here to enhance the program. For all the Christians out there, Eve was made as a helpmeet. Adam, you need help. I'm going to provide you with help. You do not want to be alone. It's not good for man to be alone. When man finds a wife, he finds a good thing.
I think a problem I see though, Mike, is
I'm not saying don't get a prenup. I'm saying definitely get. I'm saying had I met her while I was in my second contract, as in I'm well into making millions of dollars, you're signing a prenup because you weren't part of constructing this. Sorry, Jason, you were speaking.
No, what I was saying there was that I think a lot of fellas out here are looking for a female to bring them a program, first of all, or that having a female is the program, as opposed to having a purpose is the program and a female who accommodates and fits into the program, that what you're doing for a living is the means to getting women, as opposed to what you're doing for a living is your goal, is the program, and everything needs to fit into that. The other thing you just said there, though, that's kind of tricky, Mike, taking it from my end of it here. That's a little tricky. What you're saying is it is ideal if you could meet a chick before, you start elevating. If you can meet a female before then, that certainly does take a lot of suspicion away from things. It certainly does, especially if she's solid, that works great. Because if you've already built it and then you meet a female after that, man, it's practically impossible to know what you're trusting. You're going to have to put them through a lot of paces. It becomes very, very difficult. So if you can find one in the early days while you're forming and she was there through the process of it, you don't have to question that she appreciates what went into it because she had to put into it also. That alleviates a lot of it. But, when these fellas go sign a $50 million deal and meet somebody after that, they don't know what they're getting. You don't know how invested she is. We know she's happy to be there, yeah, but there's a difference between happy to be there and being invested.
So I see somebody in the chat is saying she's finna cash him out, which is hilarious. But somebody also mentioned LeBron's wife, right? And talking about cashing me out. Well, I mean, she wants to be a 5-time baby mama on the street and have no sexual marketplace and cash me out post-playing, then I think she loses more than she gains at this point. With that being said, I'll say this, and a lot of guys don't know this, and I don't want to speak ill of prenups because I fully believe in them based on your situation, right? the guys I know whose women were with them prior to the money, prior to, none of them signed a prenup, and they're all still married 20, 15, 30 years later. I'm not saying don't get one. I'm saying that's between you and how you feel about it and what's been proven to you by who you're currently with. Correct? Like you said, has she paid? Has she paid, literally, financially paid? Has she paid her dues? Has she paid her own money? Has she enhanced and increased what you have? Can you say that, I actually see where there has been gain? And I'm not talking pie in the sky and being unrealistic and being foolish and stupid. I'm saying weigh your options, because if you can't weigh your options to this detail, you don't need to be messing. You should probably keep it in your pants all the way together, because you really don't think critically as it is. So everything requires an intense amount of digging and thinking and digging and thinking and analyzing and going through all of your sources. Now, if she's stepping into a situation that you've already built, oh no, full way through. You're getting zero, nothing, zilch. With that being said, a lot of people don't understand that you can have trust. You can make sure your money is protected. Because let's say, the unforeseen happens, and it won't. Me and the dollar bills I made are fully protected, but a lot of people don't know that. I can say with confidence, if somebody said I'm looking for unicorns, well, I have one. The hell are you talking about? And I've seen actually quite a bit.
Mike, we talked about this before, brother. Most of the fellas who talk about these things, they're talking about it in the abstract. They don't even have enough assets to the prenup would even apply.
What? Well, and that's another thing. Once again, do you have the power to tell a female, like I said, once again, I'm going to bed, you're welcome to leave, and don't return, because now I know you're not serious, like I'm serious. I'm sorry, I forgot to add that part. These are conversations that were had early on. The tone was set, understanding was there, and that's why I've always been a point of resource for the younger guys coming into the NFL. Oh, go talk to Mike. You got an issue with your woman, go talk to Mike. Got an issue with your wife, go talk to Mike. That was me. Because when things are done unapologetically, when things are done with confidence, when things are done with 10 toes down, then you have to be respected. I say this about black people all the time. Don't go trying to fit in to white society. Command respect from white society. Command respect. That's going to go over a lot of people's heads. Command respect. And although someone may hate you, they have to respect you. If you try to go and be light, well, you're going to come off as a sandboard jigaboo. But if you go in there with your chest up, head held high, and command respect, you'll get respect. And the same applies to females. The problem is, nobody, and a lot of people have not been in a position to tell a female, you're welcome to leave, don't return.
Well, I think that's their goal.
Because everybody's so sex starved.
Yeah, that's it right there, is that if your goal of having her around is sex, you can't tell her leave. Because that was the whole reason you brought her there. You brought her there to have sex. Well, then you can't say, okay, I'm getting ready to go to bed, you're welcome to leave, because she was part of your program for the night. So for the slow bus kids, that's a very prescient point right there. You can't tell her leave if sex is what you want. If you got a goal, that's optional when you got a goal, when you're focused on
Jason, that. Go ahead. With the University of Miami of the 80s, and you football fans know the University of Miami in the 80s, that was a historical change to the landscape of college football. We do move the culture. We know this. There was 2 documentaries on the University of Miami, 30 for 30, but the one from 2009, that's the one you want to see. And in that documentary was Alonzo Highsmith. Alonzo Highsmith, first round running back from Miami, one of the first guys that won their better recruiting classes that changed the whole program, right? And him and Winston Moss were both at Green Bay when I was there, coaching in personnel. And I said, yo, coach, man, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm having breakfast with the elders because that's what I did. That's what I do. I didn't want to sit around and talk about when we're going to smoke weed or how many bras I can knock off. I wanted to talk to the guys who've been there before me, who've done it before me, and who are leveraging their assets now at an older age so that I can be in a position I'm currently in now, while some of my constituents are not. That's another conversation for another day. And I asked, I said, yo, so man, you guys was really living it up. Like y'all was like getting busy out there and all this other stuff. And Coach Maul said this to me straight like this. He said, Mike, our focus was going out there and kicking everybody's ass. Hence why we won a national title and changed the whole landscape of our university and the football program. Our focus was going out there and kicking somebody's ass. The parties, getting to the clubs before the Miami Dolphins, and the rappers and all that, hang with Uncle Luke and everything, the females, that was a byproduct of us achieving our goal of kicking everybody's ass. I say that for this comment right here. Once again, what are you doing this for? Because the things you're doing it for, when it's, you know, the carnal things, understand flesh dies and wither away. The carnality goes away. Do it for long-lasting impact. Do it for have a real standard. Stand on something. Because all that other stuff, that comes when you go and achieve what you want. I tell my high school guys all the time, do you guys want to go to some low-budget high school party and do some cheap underage drinking of some cheap liquor and smoke some dirt weed? Or do you want to be in amongst the A-listers and they're coming up to you asking you, dang, you really beat up on my Bears the other day. Dang, man, how good is so-and-so really? Or wanting to tell you about their high school football acumen, which I've had several different celebrities have their high school flashbacks while speaking to me. Because at the end of the day, and a lot of people don't realize this, as an athlete, that's what a lot of people strive for first before going into other fields. But once again, and this, I'm only speaking this with sports, but that goes into anything, right? Do you want to really see what true high living in high society and true partying and good fun is? Or do you want to or do you want to sacrifice it all because you're chasing some high school booty? Because that's how I phrase it. Because when they get older, they'll realize, dang, I gave this all for high school booty. For booty that just lays there and don't know what's going on, don't know what's doing, what it's supposed to do.
Well, Mike, you know, I have a lady in the chat room who asked a very good question. She asked about your wife there. Did you respect and support her goals, or did she only focus on your goals?
I absolutely respect and supported her goals. But as time came along, her goals adjusted. Well, I'll put it like this. She said she was smart enough to realize, I do want a family. I would love to settle down. I just need the right person for it. With that being said, a lot of younger women do not think that way. Some of them are incapable. Other ones fight against it. And I saw all the above through her friend group. And she had to stand 10 toes because for her, it was, do I let my friends peer pressure me into feeling like, wow, I've changed, I'm boring, I'm not fun? Or do I follow this man and get on his program? So yes, she finished her master's in elementary education, which came through mightily during the lockdown, as you could imagine, with homeschooling. She does have her pursuits in the field of music, which is what she loves. But her program, or rather not her program, but the things that she loved and that she wanted, she absolutely pursued it until she realized I'm better suited right now with being a wife, being a mother, being on my husband's program, and continuing to enhance his program. Because to be able to sit back, and I don't want to break guy code here, but be able to sit back and say, I dictate one of the most powerful men in the NFL. When I say dictate, I mean that, you know, if you're in a relationship, you get what I'm talking about. I'm not saying not being a man or not being an alpha. I'm just saying there is reasonable human compromise in a relationship. Everything's not a dictatorship, right? She understood that I am part of what pushes him when he has those low moments. I'm the one that gets him back up to stand 10 toes in front of the world and society and the entirety of the NFL, to where they feel like, man, this guy never gets knocked down. We can't kill him. We can't beat him. But they don't know that I've seen him defeated and I picked him back up. And that's more fulfilling to me as a woman, because that's my true duty, is to be the helpmeet. To build him, not mislead him and break him like Eve did. That's one of the first true lessons of the Bible. Get on the man's program. Don't break him. Don't lead him astray. Because unfortunately, we have something between our legs that even the strongest of us, well, it kind of dictates things at times, and we just have to continue. That's the thing we have to fight every day, to not be led by that. Period.
Especially when you have a bunch of it flooding at you, which is probably the biggest thing they have. It's overwhelming. Like, it's a Friday night and we're sitting here talking. These dudes got chicks, in their DMs, approaching them. If you're at the hotel, I've seen it, Mike. They're going to their rooms and knocking on the doors. I've seen it in person. They're coming to you. So resisting temptation is a lot easier when you can get away from it. It becomes a whole lot harder when it's literally knocking on your hotel door at 11 o'clock at night. It's coming to you like dominoes.
Absolutely. And I've seen and experienced it. And one thing I'll say, that I was blessed to have a cousin who was the exact opposite of me. And I love him to pieces. Love him to life. Because he was the exact opposite of me, I'll say what my strength coach told me in college when I said, how was your experience at another university? He said, well, Mike, I learned everything of what not to do. So with this cousin, I learned everything of what not to do, because he wanted to do, well, he was completely and utterly dominated by what's between his legs. So because of that, I wanted to exemplify have more discipline. And the mentality of the youth. One of my best friends, we laugh about it today. But when my cousin came to live with us, because he had a tumultuous background, hence why he kind of was wired the way he was. He came to live with us my freshman year of high school. And after a couple weeks, my buddy was making a joke. He said, man, Mike's been here all school year. This is in March now. Mike's been here all school year, yet so-and-so, my cousin, he's been here only 3 weeks, and he got all the females, and he's laughing. And, you fast forward later, I command way more respect than my cousin ever did, because I dictated what I do with what's between my legs. And eventually that all, everything comes out in the wash. So in the locker room and in any area where you have a lot of men congregated, the one who has the best dick control is the one who's going to run those group of men.
It's that simple.
Well, you're not easily distracted at that point. You're not straight at that point. And for the lady in the chat, women do need men because men need women. That's why there's the phrase, can't live with them, can't live without them. We need each other. We were biologically created for each other. There is no way if we didn't need each other, then we would cease to exist as human beings. See, people conflate it and let feminism or misogyny, if you will, I hate using that term because it's been bastardized. I'm talking about a true and utter hatred for women. When I say misogyny, not the way it's been bastardized like the term woke. But yeah, when you got feminism and misogyny, well, you got people who literally hate the opposite gender. They're going against their literal genetic makeup. They're going against science. You were built to procreate. Obviously, you need the other sex. We need each other. So to say we don't need each other, that comes from, well, now you're starting to look at different things. I don't need a man for money. I don't need a man for this. All women are bitches and tricks. Yo, we need each other. And those who stand on that business and stand 10 toes down on that, then yes, you will meet that unicorn. Because I told a female relative of mine this: you need to make yourself visible to the men that you want. When you're conducting yourself a certain way, when you're moving a certain way, the type of men you want, we don't see you. We don't see you. We don't see you. That's just like when you look at gentrified neighborhoods where you still got pockets of niggas. You see the white lady running around with her babies in a jogging stroller, or the little white kid walking his dogs in a neighborhood that used to be hot of the block. But them niggas will never mess with them white people. Why? Because they don't even see them. They live in two different worlds. They ain't going to rob the white people. They're going to rob the nigga that look just like them who ain't got nearly as much as that white person walking their dog. If you've been in a area that's being gentrified, Cincinnati's a good example, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So if you want the type of man that you say you want, you need to make sure that you are visible to him. Make sure that you understand what his world is and you can live in his world. Fellas too. You talk about you want to get a good woman. Well, at first we'll start understanding there are no good women because there are no good people. There are those of us that can delay our depraved desires longer than others. And that person is considered a good person. All comes back to self-control at the end of the day. Mike, yes, ladies, make yourself visible.
Mike, since you opened this up here, I want to ask you a question. I mean, you played in the NFL. You've been all around the world. You've been all around the country. You've been all around the richest folk from all walks of life. So any place that we can name, you've already been there. I get this question from the ladies all the time, and you went into this, so I just want to get your perspective on that. I get asked all the time, and I've given my own ideas and insights about it. Maybe you can give some of yours based on what you just said. Okay, if you have one of those females out there, they're going to ask, okay, well, Mike, where do I need to go to find these men you talking about? Because they're not out there. What does Mike say to that?
They're out there. They just don't see you because you conduct yourself in such a way that you're not visible. You are off their radar. Think about those of you who think about growing up in the hood, right? You can go and become a doctor or a lawyer, go to a major university and do well while still living in the damn ghetto. Yes, you can. Why? Because you have to live in a different world than everybody else. I'm not saying don't be aware of your surroundings, don't be wise. I'm saying you have to move in a way that when the niggas get niggered, they just look past you. They don't even recognize, they don't even see you. Because you're on a whole nother program than them. And those of yous who've grown up in these environments, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Man, niggas getting into fights, niggas doing the niggas that, and you haven't been in one. Why? Because you stay the hell out the way and you handle what you got to handle. And then once you got yourself to college, you're like, all right, now I'm going to upgrade. I'm not going to move back there. I'm going to move elsewhere. So you females make yourself visible by conducting yourself in a way that a producer is going to look and say, oh, I need her.
Is there a specific place? Is there a specific place they want to be?
Yeah, so honestly, it could happen anywhere, right? Everybody goes out to the bar, has a good time. Everybody goes to the club every now and then, has a good time, right? You know, because like you say, you got a lot of four-eye hoes out here, so you know what I mean. Going to the library doesn't automatically make you a wife material anymore. Or excuse me, you say hoes with bad eyesight. There you go. Chick the bifocals, yeah, she's running through more men than Jenna Jameson. So, but with that being said, a specific place, I don't think there is. It's hard to say. But wherever you go, just notice wherever you go, there's always going to be men. And one thing with men, we know who the hoes are. We know who the fun is. We know who the trouble is. And we know who the quote unquote good women are. How do we know? Because we're examining you guys all day, every day. It's what we do. Why? Because from the time we realized our little meats worked, we've been trying to stick it inside of something. So now that comes with a lot of analysis and studying of the other gender. Just like the way you study us, but you study us for your safety and your gain. You got to know what men are dangerous, and you got to know what men that, you know, okay, well, I can benefit from him in whatever way, whether it's long time as a husband or whether he's just going, you know, he can come by and fix my refrigerator or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So men are everywhere. It's just the way you conduct and carry yourself. The way you have your stuff together. Yeah, we got plus size women. We got ectomorphs or endomorphs rather. That's a thing. Okay, mesomorphs will have you. But that doesn't mean that you can't take care of yourself physically. You know one thing with a man, it's your physical. For a woman, it's our financial, our ability to provide. So ladies, take care of yourself physically. You might not be able to get to a size 9, but damn it, you better be the best in shape size 10 and be what they call thick.
Mike, can we trust
physically?
Mike, are there any trustworthy Instagram models?
What?
Oh hell.
If your whole personality, so there's a model and an Instagram model. If your personality, Instagram model that's not real modeling. You're flashing your ass. That's not hard to do. It's not hard to do at all. It's not hard to do at all. A real model has to be in front of that camera for hours. Modeling is painful. Excuse me. Anything professionally done is painful. I don't want to insult any other professionals. Anything you do for a professional or a living is painful. Instagram models is not. I'm going to toot my butt up inside of, you know, some skimpy clothes, take a picture, and keep going. Insta-hoeing, that's right. Because there's always a booking somewhere in the bio. So yes, no, they're all no. I tell the young guys all the time, hey man, you know she ain't gonna see your DM, right? Hey bro, stop chasing ghosts, bro.
What do you mean?
like when guys will jump in some of these women's DMs, or they're in there and they're adding to the 500K followers she has. Because my thing is, yo, don't encourage the class clown, excuse me. He's acting like a jackass, ignore him. And eventually he'll cease with his jackass ways. And then he'll realize, wow, nobody's paying me any attention.
Now, when you give that advice,
yeah,
does that include the athletes when you give that advice? Because, you know, it's a bunch of them popping up the DM. So when they pop up, is it the same rule?
First of all, it started with the athletes. Then it went on to, you know, my guys. But it started with the, you know what I mean? So my talking to came with the athletes. I'm like, yo, bro, listen. I'm like, yo, I know you see me and I'm locked down, I got my female and all that, but just understand, I was out here too like everybody else. So I'm talking to you from game. I'm giving you game from experience. Dude, stop chasing ghosts. Stop adding to her follower count. Stop continuing to be part of the problem. Stop contributing to the problem. You doing that? Yeah, it's one like out of 75,000, but you're adding to the problem. Cause it ain't just you on this page, it's the way you carry yourself. It's your demeanor. It's the words you use, your manner of speaking, your colloquialisms, your countenance, your facial that you make, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress. You're contributing to the problem. You following this Instagram thought or model and liking and all that stuff and DMing, that's just a symptom of an overall issue you're dealing with. So manage the symptoms. Get rid of the symptoms. Treat the symptoms, because it's going to lead you back to the bigger problem. Wow, why was I liking her page? Well, maybe it, you know, was I really trying to get at her? Was there a part of me that secretly hoped she was going to see it? Now, if she saw it, what's next? If she responded, what's next? Do I fly her out? Am I going to pay for it? Am I about to go see her? Wait, what? Okay, now she responded. What do I do now? Wait, what was I doing all this for? Okay, yeah, okay, I want to smack that. But I'm not a virgin. I've had copious amount of sex. So why am I chasing this right now? See what I'm saying? There's a rabbit hole of mind thinking, mind work, brain work that goes on when guys have to acknowledge the symptom, treat the symptom. Now they got to backtrack. Now they're asking questions that they didn't ask before. And eventually they're going to get to their core, which is, I truly don't have self-confidence. And I try to mask it by getting as many women as I can. Because then that way, the other fellows will look at me and say, wow, he's special. All the girls like him. And the females look at me and say, wow, he's special. All of my competitors have been with him. So now I feel better and I feel secure for a moment, knowing that somebody's looking at me and saying, wow, I'm special. Because I don't feel like that on my own.
Very prescient.
I need something.
That's very prescient. They're doing that to signal to other people. So they're chasing sex, but it's not about sex. Thank you, Oscar Wilde. They're doing that to signal something to other people, to fill some hole that they haven't filled in themselves. So if I can signal this to other people, then I'll be a whole person. And I'm using sex to see if I can signal to them I'm worthy, I'm worthwhile, I've got value, you should admire me. And you've got only one tool to work with. That's very prescient.
And it's funny because people are kind of mocking Simpson in chat, as they should. But what a lot of people don't realize is that,
Mike, now what I'm going to say here now, yes, they can say that, but the truth of the matter is, for most of them, the only difference is they didn't have the money or status to go simp out.
What? Exactly.
There's the real
And
issue.
a lot of simps become simps because culture makes them simps? How does culture makes them simps? Because culture has you put, I'll put it like this, 40-year-old virgin. His boy told him you're putting the pussy on the pedestal. So one of my friends, who's like my brother, I call him my brother, and he had, really, that man could pull any female he wanted. No issue. To this day, still can. And me, I was more focused. And I was like, man, I wonder why, we're in high school. I was like, I wonder why I just not getting to the finish line. And it's like, I can, but it's like, I'm kind of like, I got to go to this workout though. I mean, I'm on my bike, headed to school. She texts, Mike, you want to fuck? I'm like, dang, I got to work out. Shoot, man. I'll see if that offer's still on the table later. This workout's more important. So I would say, why am I having these issues? Like, why am I like this? Like, well, Mike, you're putting a pussy on the pedestal. I think you're making it more important than what it is. Now, this is the logic of 15-year-olds, right? Fast forward later, and we're now grown men. He says, Mike, I realized that I was the one putting the pussy on the pedestal because as we were both going to practice, I decided to circle back and like, yo, I'm going to go get with this chick instead of going to practice. And I ultimately quit football. And once again, I'm using football as just, it could be anything, right? That a man's pursuing. But whereas you said, nah, this is more important. I'm going to go do this. I was the one putting it on the pedestal because I was willing to sacrifice the work that needed to be done just so I can go have some fun. And how many men, raise your hands, have you turned down some vagina that you wanted because you had something more important? And I just said more important, so that means it could be anything. Please raise your hand in the chat if you've actually turned down some vagina that you wanted. Everybody's turned down the chick they don't want. That's easy. That's easy. You turned down some vagina that you wanted because there were other pressing matters.
Oh, that's a good question. It's one thing if it was a chick you don't really want like that, but if it's one you really do and you said no.
Exactly.
That's not easy.
Oh, yeah. So simp culture has been cultivated by, it's been cultivated by, all the stuff that a lot of low vibrational men have, promoted to the young men. And I got stories for days. We're like in 8th grade. And back to my cousin here, he had a buddy, and, his buddy's stepdad, this is back when phone cameras first came out. Yeah, I'm old, kids who are watching. And my cousin knocked down some very extremely low self-esteem young lady, because to be doing these things at that age, you have to have extreme low self-esteem. Low self-esteem young lady in an abandoned apartment building. And the fellows recorded it. And his best friend's stepdad had said, yo, man, I seen you in that video going to town, boy. Like, he was like giving them props. If I ever came across something like that, I'll say, yo, first of all, get rid of child porn, number one. 2, I tell them, dog, if you really, you're 13, bro, you need to be chilling out. All right. 3, if she's willing to give it up at that age, she's got some problems. You might want to stay away from her. There's something else going on there. 4, if it came down to that and this what happened, why the hell are you in an abandoned apartment building? Once again, go back to my other comments. And I hope some of you people actually saw the video of the young man who ordered the pizza. Who's going to be the adult? Who's going to be the adult?
Once you get enough money, you think you can check out of adulthood.
Oh no, these were niggas with no money. But yes, in this situation, you got a lot of people who do feel like they can check out of adulthood. Absolutely. Back to the topic. That should have been a conversation that they had at the beginning before there was any kids made. Before, and it's why, once again, wait till marriage to have kids. But before there was any new life made, that conversation should have been had, fully understood. You will sign a prenuptial agreement. Period. Yes, in the abando.
Mad world. Well, Mike, I'm not going to hold you up all night for that. I appreciate you giving us a call in here, brother. I'll let you have the last word.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely going to rewind this and listen to the whole thing tomorrow. Like I said, I saw it pop up. I'm driving home, and I went to go put on a YouTube, to listen to while I'm driving. And I saw this. I saw you were live, and I had to text you and say, I want to jump in. I even put something in the chat. So yeah. Once again, last word, guys. Remember, the more you chase sex, the further from your goal you get. My guy who said that he eventually came to realize he was putting a pussy on the pedestal, he now says, you know what? I lost money chasing females. I've never lost females chasing money. Not to worship money, but we get what the man is saying. Chasing your goals, your dreams. You'll never lose females doing that. Talk about character development, right? So there you go. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for checking in with us, Mike.
Yes, sir.
That's my man Mike Daniels there. I don't get to talk to Mike nearly as much, but then again, I'm busy around here too and stuff, so I got to make more time to do that. So if y'all wanted it directly from the source, you see exactly what's going on. He made a couple of points there that I thought were pretty pressing as well. Yeah, you're doing that stuff to signal to other people because it's like the car show, man. It's like the car show. DJ Academics talked about that once with athletes. It's about who's got the flyest clothes, who got the flyest cars, and then it becomes who got the flyest women. It just becomes this arms race. It's about who you're seen with, who got the flyest chick, who got the cutest one. And when you start to build your identity around that becomes your purpose, it's like, okay, you do realize you're vulnerable now. And the other problem with that is when you're using women in that way, I don't mean using as in using, but, if that's the way in which you're regarding women, it never ends. It never ends. You can never have enough women to validate you. If you're a man who is not fulfilling your masculine responsibilities to yourself as a man by proving what your value is and proving something to yourself, you can never have enough women to compensate for that. Let me try this a different way. If you're a man who doesn't know how to change a flat, you're with your guys, okay? Let's just say you're out with your guys and the car has a flat tire. It's your car, but it has a flat tire. If you don't know how to change, if you're a man who doesn't know how to change a flat tire, do you think that telling them fellas, yeah, but I got the baddest broad to help you?
Nigga, what?
How many women do you need to sleep with to compensate for your lack of ability? This fella doesn't know how to change a flat tire on his own car, but he came back the next day telling us about this chick's phone number he got, this IG model's phone number he got. You're sitting there telling, we're all like, okay, do you think that's raised your value? Do you think that's increased your value among the men here? So just think about that for a few moments. As a man, drowning yourself in females does not compensate for your lack of ability. Inversely, your lack of ability does not require females to validate it. If you got it, it's there. So if you want to, I'm glad Mike made that point. I'm glad he made that point because that just really sums it up. If they're looking for something, they're looking to be validated. They're looking to, if I stack enough females, that'll make up for what I don't have. And that's not the way that works. Because inversely, now you're in a different marketplace. Well, not inversely, but consequently, you're in a different marketplace. Now you're bidding with the females. Okay, do you know how many different other deficient males there are? Now y'all are all out there bidding and telling yourself she doesn't know what the game is. Of course she knows what the game is. That's why she's standing there. So now it's become a bidding war. She knows how to play on you all's egos. She knows how to play on your deficiencies. Whoever is the most vulnerable, that's the one she gonna get. And okay, her goal becomes, let me get him over a barrel. So you cannot define yourself in that way. One more thing here. Whenever I have somebody like Mike call in, I'm always glad to speak to Mike and whatnot. I'm going to speak a whole lot less. And I've explained this, but to the new people who may not get it or whatever the case may be, you hear from me all the time. You hear from me every week. Some of you hear from me 2 or 3 times a week. You can hear from me all the damn time. When I got somebody from the NBA, NFL, or whatever who calls in, you don't get to hear from them all the time. So anything I got to say, that'll wait. For these other folk here, man, you're lucky when you get to speak to them. You're not having to go through Stephen A. Smith. You're not having to go through ESPN. You're not having to go through some wackadoodle YouTube channel and whatnot, because that's one of the things I despise. When somebody is talking or whatever, I'm like, okay, let them go ahead and run it down. I want to hear what they had to say. I don't want a host interrupting them. I don't want a host trying to show us what they know. Nigga, we can hear from you. You already spoke for the first 2 hours. You spoke for the first 2.5 hours. So you can hear from us anytime. When you got these other folk, I'm like, okay, let them go ahead and say exactly what they mean and say it exactly the way it is. You can hear from us anytime. By the way, once again, just a reminder to you all, you be around folk who can open up doors that you can't. Because I was talking to Prince about that earlier. By the way, and one more thing. Yeah, your character and whatnot is going to demonstrate opening doors that you can't. Do you have enough sense and wisdom to be in the situation to be around folk where doors are getting opened? And you get to speak to some folk who are on the inside talking out, not just folk on the outside talking in. So, very glad to have that. On that note, I think that's a good one to go ahead and wrap things up on here tonight. As a matter of fact, I think that's a good one to wrap it up on here. Very glad to have that. Before I do, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to Jason C7993 in the Super Chat. Thank you very much for your support here tonight. We appreciate that. To Mr. Anwar, Sir Shai, Franklin Harvey, Teddy B, Rodney Scott, Gentleman's Lounge, Young Investor, Roger Firehawk, Ghost J, and everybody else here. Thank you very much for your support tonight here. Big Odie to everybody who's giving out memberships. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers, Red Pillars, and the rest of them love to hate watch. You will see them literally take what I've said tonight, remix it, and incorporate it into their knowledge or lack thereof in the future. But you got it from the source first. So if you want to keep up with us, click that subscribe button, click that notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. Shout out to Hootie as well, by the way. I see you, Hootie. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. If you haven't been to our Patreon, the link is in the description. We do it every weekend, 12 noon Central Time. I got a few things I'm going to discuss to follow up on tonight's program, last week's program. Lot of good feedback from last week's program. There will be a bunch of people who will be misusing it and abusing it. Some of them already are. Oh, let me hit them up. Some of them already are. But by the way, last week's program, the 7-figure personality. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on the 7-figure personality, the darkest of the arts. So for those of you who are members on Patreon, those of you who saw it, everybody loved it. Went into withering detail, went into in depth with it. A concise skill set. So, going to have a little bit of a follow-up on that tomorrow. Not specifically on that, but for the next evolutionary step forward. So keep your eyes and your ears open. If you're members of Patreon, you'll be a part of that. If you are not, you already know what you missed, but you have your opportunity to get caught up. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Shout out to Mike. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.